We are now.
Wait, really? Is this going to be at the start of every session?
Sean, we're live.
Welcome to Advantage in Paradise, where my technical producer likes to not tell me when we go live.
Yay. Good job, Alex.
Welcome, everyone, to Monday, for our once-a-week actual play D&D live stream every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we our audio and sound effects are provided by a combination of Sirenscape and Tabletop Audio. So go check them out if you want to get some cool sounds for your own games. But we're in for a good night of gaming tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Shannon real quick, our lovable rogue. She has a few social media shout-outs.
Yeah, so I would like to shout out one person on Twitter and two people on Instagram. The first person I would like to shout out is Rolls W Advantage, Rolls with Advantage. Thank you so much for being so active in the chat last week, and I think you're here tonight, so we're really happy to have you with us. Thanks for all your support. I would also like to shout out on Instagram, Crit Creation. They created a couple of aesthetics for Scarlet and Wiswick, and they're pretty freaking cool. So if you head over to her account, Crit Creation, and hoping to get some more of those done when these guys send me their information. So be on the lookout for that. Nudge, wink, nudge, cough, cough. And then lastly, I would like to shout out Eddie York. He is on Instagram. He did character art for Wiswick and Scarlet, and he is currently working on Timbers, right, Alex?
Yes.
So we'll have that very soon. Oh, what did I say? I'm sorry. Cal and Scarlet and Wiswick. My bad. Thank you. So yeah, he's on Instagram and Twitter at Eddie York. Check him out. We're good.
Sean,
you're muted.
Hey, professional. Which reminds me, I should go plug my laptop in.
Oh my! Sean, do it now.
Alex,
Sean, yes.
Yep. Alex, is it going to be Timber in his hybrid form or Timber in his humanoid form?
What? He's a dog right now.
The art. No, the art.
The art. Sorry, the art is in hybrid form. Sorry.
Oh, I thought he wanted to give you the whole back, like, were you going to do the whole last week on Advantage in Paradise as a dog? Because that would be fun to listen.
I don't think so.
What? No. In the building, never mind. I totally misunderstood the question. So, but yes.
We all did.
So wait, I missed it. Is he making the art?
He's making the art as a hybrid form.
Hybrid form, cool.
Yes.
All right. Well, that should do it for announcements. So let's get into the game tonight. All right. Last we left off, you had witnessed the execution of the Arch Druid Orlin and presented yourselves to General Aldrich Kinsley for questioning. Kinsley and his two companions, a tall, muscular woman of Scythian descent, and an enigmatic wood elf, have taken Captain Domhnall's office in the barracks for an unforeseeable future. During this meeting, Kinsley expressed interest in each of you, particularly Cal and Scarlet. He questioned you two about the story you told the guards about your time as private investigators in Endurus, otherwise known as a lie. He displayed a knowledge of magic as he summoned a silvery falcon familiar to his side to impress Wiswick, who was equally impressed and condescending at the same time. He dismissed all of you with the promise of a summons to come and a request, or perhaps a demand, to stay within the reach of Magonset. You met briefly after this exchange to make some decisions as a group. Much to Curon and Wiswick's dissent, you decided to stay until summoned. The next morning, Curon visited the Druidess Wyla to find the villagers of Magonset have grown sicker, despite her best healing efforts. She also revealed that she had researched some of the Arch Druid Orland's journal. She discovered that there is another individual that frequents or maybe lives in the Arch Druid's tower at Bracken Hill. Not to be mistaken with Bracklin Glen, the town nearby. The figure, known as Mandrick, is referred to frequently in the journal, but she has been too busy tending to the sick to research further. She also requested Curon's aid in securing supplies if he goes to Bracken Hill. With the General Kinsley of Oxland being around, she does not trust that they will get the proper supplies, and she is wary of Oxland's presence within Tressex. She also believes the Arch Druid surely would have a well-kept, well-stocked apothecary, where you could get the mandrake root that Timber is seeking to help heal the villagers. After you returned with this information, a second debate came about as Curon shared this knowledge. Timber, Scarlet, and Cal were certain it would be a bad idea to leave. But Curon and Timber, unconcerned with the politics of the Quintarchy. Did I say Timber?
Yep, that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, that's because I wrote the wrong name in my notes. Huron, and you know what it is? It's because Timber is literally in the line above it, right above it. Huron and Wiswick, unconcerned with the politics of the Quintarchy, believed the lives at stake were more important than following Kinsley's command. As all retired uncomfortably from this conversation, Wiswick decided it was time to leave. He fled a bit unorthodoxly. As his allies tried to stop him, he leapt from the window with the assistance of the Featherfall spell. He was shortly joined by an irritated Curon. After a brief argument in the courtyard, they decided to go to Kinsley himself, and seek permission, or at least to alert him that they were leaving Magonset. At this moment, they noticed a silvery falcon, familiar, resting up on the arches of the courtyard. It swept down to land on Curon's shoulder as they started heading towards the barracks. They walked through the quiet streets of Magonset towards the General Kinsley, and that is where we left off last week. Just for reference, because we got so into the in-world calendar, we are on the 4th day of Urvala. It is Tolvestag. That is the day of the week. So just for everyone's understanding of
Things
calendars, except for Wiswick.
Where is the planet in the sky? The giant planet? Is that just still occupying most of
the giant planet? Yes, the giant planet. So for those who maybe just joined us last week and is joining us this week, little lore fun fact: this world, Aradun, is really a moon of a giant gas giant, kind of like Avatar, but not really. The planet in the sky that was eclipsing the sun during the long night, the gloaming, the winter, is so you have where the sun would ordinarily be, and it's just off center in the sky because it has left its eclipse of the sun, allowing your days to be full of light.
Does it eclipse this? I'm sorry, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Does it eclipse the sun the entire 24 hours a day, or is it just like we have much less sun time?
No, it's the entire during winter. Now it's not. It doesn't matter. But during winter, it's the entire 24 hours.
So we live in darkness for 6 months.
Correct. It's the time it's harshest is the 3 middle month, or the 3 months in the middle, and then the the 2 months, whatever. The 2 months in the middle, it's the darkest. And during the day, it's not pitch black. It's just sort of like a perpetual dusk with a little bit of what would appear to be like sort of the sunset halo around the planet.
Now, do we have a particularly thick atmosphere?
Now,
keep stalling.
We'll get into the science of it, the science of Aradun. It'll be another show we'll have on here. But so eventually, I'll stand questioning for my crimes against science with this fantasy world.
The god
But-
said it was so, and it was so.
Exactly.
Happy
Olyvon
darkness to
said
you
it was
too.
so.
Rolls with advantage.
But anyway, it is not the gloaming, so you do have daylight. We have regular day. And we're going to jump in as we're going to stop in with Huron and Wiswick as they walk through the streets. It's about I forget. You guys went about a few things during the day, so this is late afternoon at this point, or close to night, I believe. Stefan,
good
you
to me.
look perplexed.
I'm trying to. So we woke up early.
Correct.
Yeah, I thought it was like
we did
midday.
A bunch of stuff. I thought it was midday, early afternoon, but
No, you're
I don't
right.
have any timetables in my.
No. You would be
Yes.
right because all you really did the second day was go speak with the Druidess,
Right.
and then speak amongst yourselves. So at this point, it would be more like a little bit in the early afternoon. So the streets are quiet, though. There's not a lot of folks moving around since it is sort of much of the people are actually in the Circle of the Ash being tended to. Magonset doesn't have a very big population due to it mostly being a pilgrimage town for the Circle of Ashes. So most of the inhabitants are sick. So you just occasionally will see a merchant keeping his stand going despite there being no villagers to buy any fresh meats or anything like that. There's no work in the blacksmith. It's ghostly almost. But you're walking out of the Arch Druid or the Lord's court. You're in the central area of the Circle of the Hearth, and you're heading towards the barracks. What would you like to do?
Uh-oh.
I'll get to that later.
Okay.
It's just my battle cam. It may have fallen on the ground. Don't worry.
So, Kieran, I gotta say, thanks for having my back and coming along with me. I mean, I know you're doing this for your own reasons, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, it might be dangerous, but isn't that what excursions are all about? I think this is the first time we've ever really gone on a quest into a mysterious rune slash, what's called... Yeah, it's a rune. Remember runes?
Yes. Quite. It is an excursion into the unknown for magic.
I
Now,
know. It's like my specialty.
Now, is there anything you two would like to talk about as far as approaching where you're going? Because you're going to, it's midday, so the guards are going to likely, as they have, let you through. But when you approach, is there anything you want to talk about, or should we speed forward?
Kieran's got nothing of note, I don't think.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't want to seem ungrateful or, we have to be assertive, so I don't hate the idea of, just knocking on his door. But, I mean, I don't want to get put in jail either. This guy might be doing some, we don't know why he's here.
True.
We wouldn't
I
want to
will
walk in on something that might get us into trouble.
Since coming here, there's been so much suspicion thrown about, and the amount of trust in the air is lacking. I find it quite, unfamiliar, if you will, from my time in Elysia.
Where do you think all these townspeople have gone? Do you think it's just the cold?
Well, there are quite a number that are sick in the Circle of Ash. I don't know if that makes up for the whole population.
As another reference from last session at the end, there is a because I was thrown off by the time of day, but the courtyard is whipping with wind at this point, and a small snow flurry, because even though it is the new dawn and it is technically the start of spring, it is a late winter storm that happen often in Urvala. So it is quite cold right now. Wiswick, you're completely unaffected by the cold because of your ring, but you are kind of holding your belongings tight as you're walking through this wintry mix.
do you have enough storage in that pack for the both of us? I mean, if it's going to be, I mean, it's just a day trip, but I kind of had to leave my stuff behind, and I don't see it on you. You didn't bring it with you, right?
No. Well, my hope is to speak with the general, get his permission, go back, gather our companions, and go. I'd rather not, it's safer to do this as a group, and I believe that our collective, especially with Timber's alchemic knowledge, I think he would be best to accompany us there, given the Arch Druid's dealings with alchemy.
Yeah, hopefully Scarlet can help convince him. He seemed quite adamant in me not running off last time, a few minutes ago.
Right, well, if we just get the general's permission, I think we can clear this up, and it'll just be a little bump on the long road of our journey.
Okay, how about we try this?
I'm gonna take a piece of paper. I'm gonna write a little note.
You don't
that
have your
says,
backpack.
Dang it!
Oh,
You got
good
me.
call, Timber.
Could I borrow a piece of paper?
Of course.
You didn't collect the homework, teacher.
Yeah.
What exactly is this for? Kieran says, reaching into his back to get a piece of paper to give to Wiswick.
I plan on giving a note to his familiar, the way he was supposed to give a note to mine.
And that's
It's
when
a
you
nice
remember,
little way of
Kieran, that
giving
there
him
is
a
a
heads
silvery, slightly glowing falcon just sort of making strange noises next to you, kind of looking around, darting quickly.
Caw!
It has not cawed yet, but
I think it's only polite to give him forward notice, even if it is just a few minutes.
I guess by all means, right away.
the falcon flaps down from Kieran's shoulder immediately onto Wiswick's shoulder, expectantly, as if it understands what you're saying.
I write a little note. Says, well, I'm gonna read it out loud as I write it, so Kieran can chime in if he wishes.
Dear General, what was his name again?
Ooh.
Kinsley.
Kingsley. Yeah,
King, yeah. He's a General King, I believe?
No,
the King
King.
General? No, it was a boy
dear
general.
King.
General King.
Dear
Have
General
a second.
Kingsley. This is Wiswick. I'm writing Wiswick Netherrock. The little sniff-nibbling kid that you met earlier today. I'm
Yesterday.
writing because we have quite a dire situation in the town that I believe needs our attention. It will require us to leave the town for a day or two, but we plan to return with the medicine needed to help the villagers who are suffering from a terrible plague. I'm writing this letter as a forward to my visit. Please expect me to arrive soon with my friend Kieran. Hugs and kisses.
Was that 3? I'm writing this letter.
Oh man, I can't wait till one of you gets sending and you have to count the amount of words you say.
I'm not charismatic. Twitter wasn't invented yet.
As soon as you say hugs and kisses, the silvery falcon kind of just immediately like gives a big squawk, and then immediately grabs the letter before you can even roll it up, and flies off with it ahead towards the circle of the market. You can expect.
I don't know why I said that. Hugs and kisses? That's only what gnomes say to each other. That's what I send when I give my sister a note. That's not what I say when I talk to a general. We're so screwed.
You can expect the general will have gotten your letter 5 minutes before you get there.
Maybe it'll throw him off guard and make him a little easier to negotiate with.
Throw him off his rhythm.
Gotta throw generals off their rhythm. So
You
I'll
want
say
it? Go get it.
money clip engraved. Anyway, this is not a John Mulaney special. At this point, I'd say we'll move ahead, and you enter into the circle of the market. Similarly, Ghost Town. There's a lot of whipping snow moving around that occasionally is settling. You're getting those little wispy tornadoes of snow in the stonework as it settles in the crevices of the shops with a very, very dark, overcast sky. It's just reading the chat. He might actually expect the hugs and kisses. But anyway, you approach the barracks. It's got the similar 2 guard station in front. They don't even question you anymore. They're kind of leaning against the stone pillars to the side, near very loosely lit torches that are kind of struggling against the wind, kind of keeping one of them is rubbing his hands and holding it over the torch. The other one is like kind of shivering with a spear in hand. But they give you a polite nod and allow you to enter into the barracks.
Kieran would give a polite nod back and just walk past.
Easy enough to find your way to the captain's office. The door is closed. What would you like to do?
Knock.
All right. So it takes a few moments, and you do hear some shuffling inside, but eventually the door does open wide, and you do see the general is standing there. He's not wearing his armor at this time. He's wearing plain clothes, just a very loose, large tunic with some general breeches, as he's holding a letter, and he looks down at Wiswick.
Oh.
Oop.
Oh.
Can we
Hi,
just move
Shannon.
Shannon? Oh, she's back. As he looks down at Wiswick and just says, hugs and kisses.
He is rather affectionate.
It's a
I see.
gnomish penmanship thing. It's how we close all our letters.
And you see he folds the letter up and kind of swats it towards you. He says, well, I know this Van Eblin to be quite close culture, so no judgments. Please come in. And as he steps back, holding the door, if you enter, he closes the door behind you. The room is not lit too much with torches. It's mostly light from the windows behind him. So it's casting a lot of shadow behind you. It's very dark in here. There's very few candles lit. There's one at his table that's probably there just if he needs it. But it's very cold in here. The windows are actually open. And he sits down, starts shuffling some things around. He says, so as if I read your note correctly, you're looking to leave Magonset.
Yes, General. It would only be for 2 days for travel. We have discovered that there was a tower at Bracken Hill, nearby Bracklin Glen, that the Arch Druid Orlin used to frequent. I'm not sure how much you've been caught up on the situation that happened here before, but he was performing what I would describe as dark arcane arts.
I'm aware.
Right.
His crimes.
We are looking to pursue what was happening, as well as there appears to be a sickness afflicting the people of Magonset. A number are being kept in the Circle of Ash, and we believe that provisions for healing them could be found at his tower, given his interest in the alchemic arts.
And how did you come about this information?
We have scrounged together a bit of it from pieces here and there. His journal, the
You have the Arch
Druidess.
Druid's journal.
Yes, we found it when we were searching the long haul after defeating him in the courtyard.
And you did not immediately turn this into the guard?
Of course we did.
They had given it to us to continue our investigation. Given our knowledge of magic and gods, they saw us as being experts in the field.
Very loose, these guards, with friends.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say that. We were integral in cleaning out their town, as you will. We were well respected by that point by pretty much the whole town. So, yeah.
For all intents and purposes, we were in somewhat of a service to the Lord, performing this.
And as you must know,
yes,
there's not many people around here who know much about magical arts and such. So
You
I believe that we were the best people
notice
to
at this
make
point
something
he
of
takes
it.
the quail and he dips it in some ink and he begins writing. And you have this journal with you now?
No, it is currently being reviewed by the Druidess.
The Druidess.
Yeah, she understands the Druid language, Druidic.
The half-Gwyn?
Yes, that's the one, I believe.
I'll be questioning her tomorrow, so this is good information to have. What else has she told you?
Just it, she's still trying to remember her times from before being imprisoned by the Arch Druid.
Do you trust her?
Oh, of course. I mean, I have no reason not to trust her.
She
Wiswick gives a deadpan stare during that.
Gives a what?
He's just deadpan staring, like he doesn't know what to say at that when he's asked that question.
She was of their cult.
And was also locked up by their cult and severely mistreated. I don't believe they would treat their own that way.
If I'm not mistaken, from what I have gleaned over one day here, a series or a number of other druids were similarly imprisoned and in less savory shape. I do believe they treat their own this way. Now, she has proven herself somewhat trustworthy, but I am a bit suspicious at how easily you've come to trust her. Now,
if I may, I have been taught to trust unless, someone proves themselves untrustworthy. Why would someone lie to me?
Why, indeed. Now,
might I also mention, you might want to check with the leaders here, because I remember them specifically mentioning that they had spies within the druid, within the druids grouping that were giving them information about the Longhouse and their men and provisions. If she was one of those spies, that might give her more evidence to on her side of trustworthy.
Now I'll be asking her all these questions tomorrow. She is proven invaluable in protecting our sick villagers here. The leadership of this town, good men, but they're inept at management. Wouldn't necessarily trust them. They have been proven too quick to seek out outside help from their own ranks. But what can one expect from Tressex?
Now, hold on a minute, sir. Although they are quite inept, I can agree with you there.
Wiswick.
They choosing to seek outside assistance was probably the smartest thing they have ever done. We have resolved most of the issues of this town on our own, and it's only from, and we're just 5 adventurers just struggling to get by. These people owned an entire town, and they watched as it fell to all these druid cultists and did nothing. Well, maybe they did something about it, but I didn't see any progress. They should be accused of other things other than outside help. That doesn't seem right to me. They did the right thing by calling us in.
Perhaps they did.
Which is why you should do the right thing and let us go explore this new tower and get you more information.
Give me a persuasion check.
Oh God, I'm not good at these.
I
got a 5.
Excellent. So
quick.
He continues writing, looking up and down as you're talking. Yes, perhaps it was a smart decision for them to bring you in. But for all I can see of the happenings of the last few days, you were muscle, brute force brought in. All the decisions were their own. They chose to storm the courtyard during the festivities. As the Arch Druid summoned a beastly elemental, they lost half their men that day that fought. And then they chose to keep him locked in a single cell and allowed wanton movement of strangers throughout these dungeons. No wonder the mask was stolen. No wonder there was a second attempt at escape. They have grossly mismanaged the situation, regardless of how they brought you in as support. Now, yes, you did prove somewhat invaluable in your brief investigations, but it does not excuse the Lord's behavior or his decision-making. And this town has suffered for it. For 6 months before you even arrived, people were dying. Now, give me one good reason I should let you leave.
The health and well-being of the people who
Let me
live here?
rephrase my question. Give me one good reason I should let you leave and I should not send my own men to this tower.
Your men don't know the druids as we do. We fought them many times in the past. We're on to their tricks. If you take us with you, we will make sure you have less casualties. We're offering ourselves out of our own goodwill.
Goodwill. Elysian, is this what you believe as well?
Of course. I am here to do good by these people. I see their suffering and I wish to ease it. It pains me when I went to visit the Druid Escuela yesterday to see all those sick in poor care. I would very much like to remedy this, as that is what my goddess has taught me.
Yes.
If you wish to send your own men, we can't fault you for not trusting us. Just know
True.
that we expect, we hope that you will take your findings from this tower and give them back to the people who need it. It's them who we are serving at this moment.
Kiran, give me a persuasion roll with advantage with Wiswick's help.
Yeah, I like that one.
14.
14. Okay. So he continues writing. Certainly, I understand some honesty to your statements. After all, I heard you in the courtyard. Your interest in saving lives may be true. What interest do you have in these lands? You're both foreign, both from isolationist countries. Why are you even here?
If I may, General, I have been sent to figure out what's going on, if you will, in the larger world. The one that has spoken to the Arch Druid, pretending to be his Ash Keeper. I believe this same entity threatens my people in Elysia and in the greater continent.
Interesting.
My people are not usually ones to seek outside help either. And I think that that is a weakness, both from our people and others. That's why I've left on my own to seek this information, to try to right a wrong in our world.
Well, perhaps I can't fault you for that. I have also sought to right wrongs of this world. Bracken Hill, from what I understand of the region and the maps I've studied, it's a day and a half's journey. And then back. So at least 2 or 3 days just travel. And who knows how long you'll be at this tower. I would need assurances of some kind before I let you go, because I would like to continue questioning you, particularly your companions. And if you are so eager to leave soon, when they return, I would like to question each of them immediately. You must return.
We wouldn't dream otherwise, General.
What sort of assurances can you provide me?
The insurances of the life of the villagers. If we do not return with the needed provisions, they will die. And I cannot have it on my conscience.
You could always reward us when we get back.
Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
I can see Tim cracking up behind his band over there.
It's the carrot, not the stick that works.
How about a 12?
Wow, with disadvantage, that's pretty good.
I know, it was a 12 and a 14.
I will certainly not be giving you any rewards for going about your own business. I would expect you to return and check in with me, or check in with one of my 2 captains. Now, I guess to entice you, Wiswick, if what you say is true, and there are interesting things or evidence at this tower, something that will help us in protecting this town, or more information about what exactly is the nature of the Arch Druid's work. Can you bring me back this evidence? And bring me back what you find? All that you find? Perhaps, you see he snaps his fingers, and what materializes in his hand is a spell book. Perhaps there may be some literature in it for you.
Wiswick just has a big droopy smile. In fact, he might be drooling a little.
Now, would you all go on this journey?
I believe as a group we function better than alone. If it is your will, I guess.
My instincts tell me I should not let you go. But you have proven valuable. You came to me of your own accord yesterday. You did not try to flee. You could have easily attempted to leave tonight. But you didn't. You came directly to me. Just know If you do not return, each and every one of you will be considered fugitives and enemies of the Quintaki. You will find no refuge in this country. While you're gone, we will be asking about you everywhere, as much as we can. You won't be back for at least 4 or 5 days, based on what your journey that you've outlined. You're heading into dangerous territory. The lands around Bracken Hill, marshlands, riddled with fog and ice creatures. I know about Bracken Hill. If you wish to go on this journey, I will not stop you. I expect you to return with information and goods for these villages. And I ask, since you will be out there, and if this is indeed the Arch Druid's home or escape from this town, it would be a good location to potentially find the missing mask. Bring me back the mask. And you will have gained some of my trust.
I think that's amendable. We could probably get that for him. Yeah, right. Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, except for the part about us getting warranted as fugitives, that kind of freaked me out. I mean, like, can we have like a nice little like cushion area period? Like maybe like wait an extra day.
This
Give
Huron
us an
like
extra
kind of like
day
puts his
before-
hand on Wiswick and starts pushing him back a little. We appreciate your kindness, General. We will not prove you wrong in trusting us. It is good to have gained an ally this day. And Huron bows, starting to like walk out backwards.
I expect to see you within a week.
Of course.
Good luck.
I hold my hands out for a hug.
He doesn't. He looks down and starts writing in his notes.
Huron tugs at Wiswick's shirt like, come on, he's not going to hug you.
All right. I mean, it was worth a shot.
That's fair.
When you step out to leave, standing right outside the door, you hadn't noticed her before, is the larger Scythian woman. Just watching you, arms crossed as you leave. The general, or Kinsley, as you leave, cries out, "That is Captain Amara. If I'm not here or available upon your return, you will check in with her. And she will inspect what you've brought me."
Of course, General. Captain.
What about the other one in your stead? The wood elf.
Do not worry about him. Seek myself out or Amara.
Very well then.
Leave me now. You see she sort of steps forward to usher you away as she closes the door and stands in front of it.
Huron does a curt little nod at the captain and proceeds to leave the barracks.
Okay.
I think as we're leaving, Wiswick's just gonna turn around like after the door closes. I don't know. Is Amara outside of the build? Like, is she closing it on us?
No,
Or is she outside?
She's closing it as you leave. She's still outside. She's standing in front of the door.
Okay, so I'm gonna I basically stop in front of her just to like keep her attention. I say.
Okay.
I don't believe we were very properly introduced. My name's Wiswick. I'm hoping that after we do this job for you guys and help townspeople, we could get to know each other a little better. That's it. I hope you have a good day.
She holds her very large hand down to you as if to shake your.
Yeah, I shake her hand.
So she squeezes your hand and it hurts a little bit, and she kind of lifts you off your feet when she does the upward motion of the handshake. And she's just like,
Oh,
I look forward to seeing you in a week's time. Good luck on your adventure.
I'm gonna take your word on that. You heard it, right? A week? We got 7 days now. That's plenty of time. We'll be here lickety split. You better wait. I'll probably be here earlier.
She kind of smiles at Wiswick and then looks up to Kieran like, get him out of here.
Yes, apologies. Come on now. We should go back to the others.
Yeah, I follow along.
Okay. All right. So as you're heading back, I'd like to check in with everyone else who is, I imagine, not really doing too much. You all, last we left, Timber had retired to, or headed into Scarlet's room away from the group. Cal had failed to capture Wiswick, and Scarlet also had failed to capture Wiswick. But is there anything the rest of you would like to do while you wait for your... Or I guess you don't know they're coming back. But
I believe the last thing I did was turn to Scarlet and go, cards?
Actually, yes, that is 100% the last thing you did. So, cards?
No.
Okay.
Do we go after them?
You know, I have the strangest feeling that it'll work out all right. So,
How can you possibly know that?
you know, it's something I like throw an arm around her shoulder and I start walking her away from the broken window. You know, like it's
Because you are standing in front of the broken window.
Excuse
it's
me.
just I don't know if it's in the blood, but something about endurance. We have a sense for these things, and I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun. Sorry.
Endurance can sense the meta.
We're a combo Italy gypsy, Romani kind of like people, you know?
As he's walking you away from like really harsh winds blowing behind you and like snow flailing around you as your two friends have exited into this storm, supposedly to completely leave the town as the last thing you really thought they were going to do. I mean, you did hear Kieran say he was going to go talk to the general. He did say that. But Scarlet, is there anything else you want to do, or are you going to accept the potential fates?
Yep. Just accepting it.
All right.
Let's
Is there
go.
anything?
Keep it a plotline move.
I'd say you guys have. Is there anything you'd like to do in like the half hour?
Would like to steal Wiswick's parchment
No!
for my
He
own.
spent 50 gold on that.
No, I used up all that.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he only has papers in his cartographer kit at this point.
Oh, like large papers?
Yeah, he doesn't have like the fancy paper he bought.
I'm gonna take one.
One like large like
sheet.
cartographer, like blank cartographer.
Yeah. Well, blank one. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Okay. You do notice the first thing you notice is his like the beginnings of his map he's been drawing of the Quintarchy region. It's pretty impressive actually. But
I will analyze that. You know.
I want to emphasize that I do not keep my secret map in my cartography kit. It is tucked inside of my spell book at all times, right next to the page that has my prank list.
Do I have Endurian sense?
From last session.
No, you don't.
Damn it!
What secret map you got there, boy?
You like the
I didn't say anything about a secret map to anybody, did I?
I like that your prank list is fundamentally just the Book of Grudges from Warhammer, but for pranks. Like you live underground, you get everybody.
So you successfully steal a large piece of parchment from Wiswick since he's not there, and it's easy to find, and you got a full half hour to find it.
I rip it up like neatly in parchment sizes that I would use.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
Okay.
I will actually have you give me an investigation check real quick to see how long it takes you.
Okay. Oh, why did I waste my nat 20 on that?
I mean, it's good because you're not going to be caught by Wiswick and Kiran as they come back. Because they weren't gone that long. Well, I guess they would be gone a decent amount of time. But yeah, you successfully get it. You walk out of the you left it just so as he had left it. And you return to your room with successfully having acquired several pieces of parchment. As you close the door, flash forward 20 or so minutes. Wiswick and Kiran, you enter into the hall. I will say it is noticeable for all of you that the hall is like last session. It's not many people operating. There's like a servant here or there. It's similarly ghost-like. And you have not seen the Lord since the execution, which was the day before, but still, you haven't really seen him moving about the hall at all. He hasn't come to you at all. But you get back. What would you like to do? Would you like to gather your comrades?
Yeah, Kiran would probably go to whoever's door is first, give it a little knock, and be like, hello, whoever door this is.
The first door is Cal's.
I don't remember if it is, but
The first door is Wiswick's, but he's with him. So Cal.
Right.
So knocking on Cal's door.
knocking on Cal's door. Oh, you're back. Lovely. How are you?
We're good. So we procured the general's
permission?
Yes, thank
okay.
you. Permission to travel to the Arch Druid's tower at Bracken Hill.
Wonderful. For all of us, or just you?
Yes, all of us.
Lovely. I'll get my things.
Fantastic.
Now that I think about it,
Cal is suddenly very okay with the plan.
We got permission. I'm good with it. We turn around and then I spin back around and I go, wait, you actually got his permission, right? You're not.
I don't lie, remember?
Right. And I pat him on the shoulder and then I go get my thing.
I'd say, Cal, you do have a moment after he leaves where you're like,
yeah.
Does he?
wait, hold on. I just realized something that could just be a really big screw up. We didn't get any evidence to prove that we're traveling under this general's command, right? Like, if anybody asks us what we're doing, we can't really say that it's cool. We've got a reason to do this. Like,
Are you
what if
saying
we
that
run
my door's
across?
still open?
Yeah, I'd say he said
Okay.
wait a minute, so yeah.
Well, it's not. We're not like carrying out a mission for the king, right? Like we don't need a warrant.
No.
And I don't think there's anyone who's supposed to stop us from doing
The
that. Right?
general just arrived with the 2 captains, I believe. I don't think he had a whole entourage, as far as I was concerned.
I mean, he did mention that he was gonna watch us as we go along. What if he has like
Right.
spies in other towns and stuff?
Well, then we just don't deal
We
with them?
cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yes, we burn that bridge when we get to it.
Well,
Okay, I just thought it would be a lot easier if we got a note now.
Shouldn't somebody tell Scarlet and Timber?
on my way.
Thank you.
Walks to Scarlet Timber's bedroom.
Wiswick is still talking about eventualities as this is happening.
Are you keep walking with Kiran?
Yeah.
talking about these? Okay.
All right, I'll open the door, and upon seeing it's him, I'll just, oh, you're back now, are you? And just turn around and walk back into the room.
But leaving the door open?
Yep, leaving it open.
Not entering, kind of pushing it open to see if Timber's in there. Yes.
He's in there.
Kieran goes, so we spoke with the general, and he has allowed us to leave for the Arch Druid's tower, if you're interested.
Oh, did you? What did you have to tell him to get that permission?
Not much. We just, said why we were going there, what we were doing there. I did not mention the mask, so you should be
Oh
proud.
yeah, I honestly, he brought it up. Kieran was the good. He did a good thing. He
I
just
almost-
he
I-
let it slide.
While Wiswick is
remember
talking,
that.
Timber just gives him the worst, like, like dead eye stare, like.
Because at this point, Timber is in his hybrid form right now.
Right.
Good boy. Can I have my stuff back?
And I figured...
I throw it at him. I don't even like place it. I throw it at him.
I catch it and go flying backwards.
Hold on, make him roll
Hit
for
on my
that.
butt.
Dexterity saving throw. No, you roll back. You auto fail that roll.
Yeah, it's kind of like when your older brother throws a pillow at you when you're a little kid, and you just take it because it's fun.
Wiswick goes tumbling back towards it, out the door, and then kind of comes back a little dizzy, but slightly smirking.
Yeah, he's getting the joke of it all.
I'm not sure why you were also scared of the general, but...
I'm not scared of him.
Worried about him, then. I'm not sure. Looking around to make sure there's no one else around. If you wanted to leave without anyone knowing, we have a week before we have to be back. So, just saying, if you did want to leave and be all sneaky, you have that opportunity.
And he was
Kieran
okay
says.
with that.
Huh?
Just leaving. He was okay with that.
Yes, he said that we can... Well, we had to come back afterwards.
Ah.
But I'm saying if you wanted to go away and do your sneaky sneak things, you can. I was trying to do you a bit of a favor. I don't know.
Look, it's 2 to 3 days of travel time, and he gave us a solid 5 days before he calls the hounds on us.
7 days.
No
Remember,
offense.
7 days.
Give me one good reason why I should trust you right now. You just walked out on us.
I'll give you 2, Cal says, walking out and leaning on a door frame. It seems like this might be our best chance to go out and maybe get our story straight before we have to go meet with anyone and maybe cover up some loose ends. It also seems like a good thing to do because there's people dying in the square. And while, not really my job, not really our jobs, they seem interested in it, and I think we should stick with it. That's really just one reason, I suppose. That's 2 reasons.
He makes a good point.
You're okay with this? Talking to Timber.
No. The weather outside is not that
Frightful.
What cold gear do you guys have?
So I don't have any of that. I was actually suggesting a spin to the tailors, one of my favorite shops in the whole area. Did you notice if they were open, by the way?
I believe there's not really a lot of people about, but if his shop's here, there were other stalls open.
Let's check it out. We do need I need a fur-lined cloak, perhaps.
You think all those people were arrested and they're all just in the dungeon somewhere? Maybe they're all co-conspirators and the town is generally all druid cultists.
I think you're going a bit too far, Fred. And I pat him on the hat. Scarlet, seriously, are you okay with this?
No, but I'm not going to stay here by myself, so I get thrown in jail again.
That would be unfortunate. Yes. That wasn't meant to be a joke. Well, look, at least this. Would you rather talk to the general? I don't know what our plan would be otherwise.
She doesn't have a reason to go. There's no reason for her to go.
Right. That's fair.
If it makes her feel any better, he did offer me a reward.
Why would that make me feel better?
Give it to Scarlet.
It gives you a reason to explore. I mean, I know you don't care about the townspeople's lives, but maybe if you know that there's something good in it for us, there would be some incentive to do this.
I say karmically this will help us out in the long run. You know, maybe we save the town. Maybe they say, hey, here's a couple jobs. Here's a nice, nicer room. Here's some nice new clothes. I think in the long run, this will help. Plus, I know that these two really want to investigate it, and I'd rather we stick together because that makes for poor gameplay.
You're sure you didn't say anything about us?
No, all I said was that I believe in doing the right thing. Wiswick agrees, and that we want to help the townspeople, and that's why we're going, and that's the truth.
No, and he did mention that if we found the druid's mask, we should probably bring it back to him. He has no idea where it is now.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's probably makes him a little less trustworthy, right? There's something about that mask that we need to discover, and we're not going to have the information that we need to get until we go check out this tower.
Well, we've got a week, don't we?
Yes.
I wouldn't
Through the snow.
dally, though.
My pack is on my shoulders. I don't know how much more ready I can.
Yeah, I'd say we leave as soon as possible.
Okay, and I turn around and I begin walking down the stairs.
It's around, I'd say it's around 2 o'clock at this point in the afternoon, or around 2 o'clock. So what is it that you would like to do? Is there anything you would like to do before? Are you all planning on leaving today?
Well, we need cold weather gear, right?
Might be smart to get some cold weather gear.
So, Huron and Cal and Wiswick all descended from the north through Sivia. So wouldn't we already have gear that's acclimated to that kind of climate?
I would say yes, based on that. I would say you have some level of protection. I wouldn't say it's. I'd say it'd be very. In this, it would survive you through a couple of days of this storm.
Sean.
Long term, it might not. You're entering into the warmer months, so it's not going to matter for a while in the game. But if we get to the next winter, you'd probably new winter gear.
No,
but I'd say, like Cal, you have a heavy cloak.
Yeah.
And you each sort of have your own kind of heavy traveling cloak. Timber, you had something?
Yeah, while I was looking at Wiswick's map, is there a clear-cut road to this tower, or is it just through the wilderness?
All you know from it is Wiswick. No, you drew it directly from a map. So from what you can see, there is not a clear-cut road. All you know is how far up the northern road you have to go, and then where you should start going west off the road to meet
So there is road travel on road.
There is the ability to travel on road. There's just a certain point where you have to veer off into the wilderness.
Got it.
This is a serious question, despite how silly it's going to sound, but does my lava-ness give me any sort of warmth?
That is an excellent point. I would say you're fine.
Sweet.
You got boiling blood.
Yeah, so you can just walk through shit and be like, yes.
Yeah, I'd say that it is that does sound silly. This is my lava-ness. But yeah, I'd say for the purposes of this storm, if we were in the middle of the gloaming, I'd say no. This is too but this is not too much for you. And you're from a more northern part of Gristram anyway. And you have pretty decent gear. I'd say that you, if anything, the snow when it touches your skin kind of melts away.
Cool. Thanks.
So the rest of us freeze, and she's
We
just
need
soaking.
a pair of dog booties.
I mean, I guess technically Scarlet can provide some heat with her like lava skin.
That's great. We all just stand around her.
It only lasts for a certain amount of time, but she can, in a desperate situation, she can crack her.
Instead of all around the campfire,
Skin
all
to
around Scarlet.
All right, so then I'll just I'm pissed if nobody
All right,
could
we're
tell.
camping.
So I'm
Somebody
going
light
to,
up the Scarlet.
I'm just going to start like very huffily gathering all my stuff and just not talking to anybody.
Okay. So since you all kind of already have cold weather gear for the most part for a late season storm, early spring storm, I'd say it takes you a little while to get ready, but you can leave. So you are going to follow the road north, correct? Following Wiswick's map.
As we're leaving, do I see a servant or perhaps the chamberlain?
You do not see the chamber. I forgot his name.
Russell Crowe.
No, it's not Russell Crowe. Mycroft. You do not see. I believe his name is Mycroft. You do not see Mycroft. You do catch a servant though on the way out. So, a young man running across the hall.
I just say, let Mycroft and the Lord know that we'll be out for a few days. If the Lord is still so generous as to provide us with rooms, we will be returning.
He seems frantic when you stop him. He's sort of like, okay, yeah, sure.
Is everything okay, my good lad?
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. It's just been a quite interesting few days. I haven't seen the Lord since yesterday. He hasn't come out of his room, but I don't really know what to do with myself. Mycroft is missing. Don't know if he's amongst the sick. But
understood. I would just polish something and make busy, and then I've tapped on the shoulder. Keep walking.
Yes. Good luck on your journey, I suppose.
You too. I tip him a copper.
He kind of looks at it and he's like, I serve a lord. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. All right. I got what to do. And he runs off.
I've already walked past him. Fuck this guy.
I'll let the Lord know. Brilliant. All right. Okay. So you are foot. Yeah, you don't have horses. You are. You're walking. You're walking out of the town. I guess at this point, everyone would notice ghostliness. Those of you who haven't been outside yet, there's not really anyone about. Most of the shops, if not all of the shops, except maybe one or two, are closed.
Kieran, how many people are sick? Or is this just people avoiding the storm?
There were a number sick. Not enough to empty out the entire village, though, or town.
Perhaps the really recent political upheaval is. Well, I guess we'll we get back.
Yes, not only did I want to explore the tower, but this place has gotten rather dreary, and, well, I don't much like it anymore.
Kieran, I just wanted to be clear. With the stuff that we told the general, I'm concerned about his take on Wyla. Before we go, we might want to send her a letter just warning her that she's going to be interrogated tomorrow.
Send Jet.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have time for a visit, but I think it would be better coming from you.
So Kieran takes out a piece of parchment, quickly pens a quick letter, giving the relevant information to Wyla, like, Dearest Wyla, we are off to look at the Arch Druid's tower that you informed us about. I did tell the general you had the Arch Druid's journal. If he asks for it, I guess give it to him. He will be interrogated, or he would write questioned. Interrogated. You will be questioned on the morrow about your involvement in all this. The general does not trust you as you do not trust him. Hope to speak soon. Q. Rolls it up.
Hugs and kisses.
Huh?
Hugs
no
and
hugs
kisses.
and kisses.
Okay. Rolls it up. Jet takes it and flutters off to deliver it, and he'll rejoin you shortly, likely as you exit the town. So, as you make your way around the town towards the northern road, you see the outskirts of the town. It's largely sort of snow dust covered hills. Leading off to the southwest, you can see the forest line. You see southeast, you can sort of just barely see the glint of the river. and you begin heading north. Would you like to travel fast, medium, or slow? Fast gives you a -5 penalty to perception checks. Medium, everything as usual. Also fast, you cannot do anything stealthily. And then slow, you can do things stealthily, but it will take longer to get there.
Fast.
Yeah, I would agree.
Kieran
with
would
that.
probably be like, I've been cooped up, let's get going.
Okay. Easy enough. All right, so and you
Cal
guys
does
are
everything fast.
and you're gonna follow the road, I'm presuming, and heading north.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what is the order that you're traveling in? What's the lineup? Who's traveling on the road?
How deep is the snow? Not very,
It's
right?
not very deep.
Yeah.
No, it's not very deep. It's more. There's more around than there is snow, but there is maybe an inch or two of snow depending on the area. The wind is really keeping it up in the air.
I'll go second.
Kieran would
Somebody with-
probably take
Should
the
go with
lead,
front.
looking out with his eyes.
Timber wouldn't let Wiswick be last.
Yeah, I think what happens is Wiswick decides to stay in the middle, like at the beginning half of it, and then very soon after, like maybe an hour into walking, he realizes that this pace is just way too fast for him, and just keeps slowing down. And like Timber's behind me, and he's like just getting more and more frustrated because I won't keep up with everyone.
You do have little legs. Scarlet, are you going to be right in front of Wiswick and Timber?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who is keeping an eye out?
Kieran is.
I mean, if you all want to, you could each keep an eye out, but I'm presuming some people might doze or not necessarily.
I'll be singing a traveling song.
Jet's keeping an eye out. I'm not.
Jet does and reaches you. So Jet, you can, just like you did in Sivia, you can send Jet up in the air.
I would imagine that Jet is not very comfortable in this environment, and I probably would only send him up for short increments of time, like maybe once every hour or so.
Okay. All right. So those of you who want to keep an eye out, please give me perception checks. You are going fast, so -5 to your checks.
The road goes ever
Hey.
on and on,
Nat
down
20.
from
I
the
got a
door
19.
where it began. Now far. I'll think quietly.
Jet has a perception.
I got a 17.
17. I imagine Cal has a really nice walking stick.
Until it's showing some larger way.
Jet has a 13 hearing.
Okay.
So Kieran overall has a 22.
22. Okay.
Yes.
Road
All right. So as you're traveling, I'm going to say this is for the first 2 or 3 hours. Things seem pretty clear at this point. Kieran, you're keeping an eye on the road. As you keep an eye on the road, it's fairly safe. Cal, you would kind of understand, and that's why you're singing, that the road tends to be fairly safe in the kingdoms. It's when you really veer off that things get real hairy potentially, or if you're not paying attention while you're on the road. Timber, picking up the rear, you're just sort of looking back, and you slowly see kind of the whipping of the wind picks up to the point where it's hard to see, and the vision starts to shrink the further you go along the road. The closer you get to night, you can no longer see the town behind you. And by the point you can no longer see the town, your vision has been restricted down to roughly for everyone. It's not darkness that's inhibiting it. It's the thickness of the snow whipping in the air. Scarlet, similarly, kind of keeping that middle ground. You're looking side to side. And as you get further, the sort of wind-swept brown fields of tall grass that have woken from the winter slumber, covered in snow, are shifting now towards tall skeletal-like trees, creating loose forests that ahead become more dense, but the road stays persistent north. The road is a loose cobblestone, as if it was cobbled a long time ago and now is quite rocky and very easy to trip on.
This road
Jet,
is easy to trip on.
as Cal is singing in, takes a slip, doesn't fall though. But Jet in the
acrobatics,
sky, Jet listening is difficult because of the whipping wind around, and flying is quite difficult for him. So every time you send him up, he's not staying too long. He's sort of going up and giving a general look. But for the first few hours of the journey, things seem relatively fine. The storm's getting worse, but there's nothing of danger to note. Around this time, we're getting around hour 3 of travel. It's around 5:30, so it's going to start getting dark soon. As you enter into the middle portion of the journey, I would like you guys to give me whoever would like to, another perception check.
Home is behind, the world ahead.
That's a
It's a 16.
21.
18.
And there are many.
Is that 21 with the -5?
Yes.
Wow, nice.
But I rolled a
Nice.
19 after rolling a 20, so
Nice.
Mist and shadow.
All right, so we had 21. Scarlet, what would you have?
18.
18. What was Jet?
14 here.
Okay. And Timber, did you roll?
16.
16. Okay.
All shall fade.
Okay, Kieran, you're noticing as it gets darker and your range of vision is shrinking with the snow. You're at this point kind of just you keeping your eyes on the road, with occasionally looking up and around to keep whatever's ahead of you shown. You do hear the hoofbeats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoofbeats of and the spinning of wheels as it seems like a cart is heading in your direction.
approaching us from the front.
Yes, coming south from the northern pass. Scarlet, you would also start to hear this. Timber, you would as well. And Jet would hear it, sort of hear it very lightly from his vantage point. He's really struggling to hear anything up in the sky. And he's just completely blind by up there. So, is there anything you'd like to do? The cart seems like it's probably like 60 or so yards from you.
Kieran would just turn back and go, "There's a cart approaching. To the side of the road, everyone."
Everybody hold hands.
And Kieran would make sure that he's on the right. So this is standard traffic laws. Keep to the right.
Yeah, Tressix, they drive. Everyone travels on the right side of the road. I would say, Kieran, with that high of a roll, I would ask for a second roll as the cart approaches closer.
Any stones nearby?
19.
19, nice. Stones, like just on the ground.
Like you want to hide on a pebble?
Anything to hide behind?
Oh, like big stones. Not really. What you see to your left and right is mostly tall. I mean, I guess you could really hide in it. It's tall brush that probably Wiswick could easily hide in. Everyone else would have to get down on their stomachs.
Wislick will do that.
All right, give me a stealth check. So you see the silhouette of the
7.
cart is coming through. 7. Okay. The cart is approaching, and it looks like it has one driver. There's a lot of sacks in the back. One horse. It's a small, very small, loose cart. Looks like it's made mostly of small sticks. Really, it's very, very roughly made. And there's just one old man in the front, and a little girl sitting in the back with the sacks.
Hoe the cart.
What did you say?
I said ho, as in hail. The cart. It's standard. You guys weren't caravanners. You don't. It's standard.
Your experience with the Sivian traders. You hail the cart. You see the old man as he approaches. He's got like a very like a small moth-eaten like yokel hat. Actually, not a yokel hat. Like one of those like
it's just a shape
medieval,
of
the medieval peasant.
one of the fucking Monty Python.
Yeah. It's got the straps down.
The aviator caps.
Yeah. And he's the aviator caps. He's got really thick, like wolf. It looks like wolf fur on over his shoulders. His daughter is wrapped up as well with a makeshift hood up. And he sort of sees you as you hail him. He just gives you a polite nod. He's about 20 feet approaching you. Timber, you would smell immediately that the cart is full of meats. Probably entirely of meats. The old man appears to be reasonable. I would say, Huron, with your rolls, how high your rolls were, as the cart is approaching, there's this quiet moment of the wind, and you looking about, kind of breathing in, just sort of a moment's rest as this cart passes, as you're about to continue journeying. When you hear about 100 yards behind you the crunching of snow.
So from town.
No. I'm imagining you're standing on the side of the road, 100 yards,
I see. Okay.
or not 100 feet off the road. You hear the crunching of snow. I would say give me an insight check as well.
Does this have any negatives to it? Or
no, because you're not moving or traveling right now.
16, mother trucker.
You suddenly get a flashback of a cart moving on a road through heavy snow and the sound of crunching.
Kieran turns to his companions and go, "There's something out there."
I drop my sword immediately.
How close is the cart man?
The cart man is about to pass you. His cart is gonna, within the next 6 seconds, it's going to pass you.
Wiswick casts mage armor.
Okay.
I have a produce flame. Turn around and look into the where he pointed.
Okay. Scarlet, give me a perception check. The
6.
6. All right. It's snowy. I mean, you're kind of darting your eyes back and forth. You've also had experiences on the road in the snow like this, and you're just seeing. I guess it's not really crunching snow. It's more crunching snow and grass, tall brush, movement through the brush. But you don't see anything at first, Scarlet. The cart. The cart immediately kind of he sort of reels up and he's seeing you all kind of hail him and then draw your weapons. He's like, what's the meaning of this? We mean you no harm.
I believe your cart's about to be set upon by wild beasts. At this, Kieran would draw his crossbow, looking out over the field and cocking a bolt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of crouched with my sword out, and I'm like, "Get me a target, Q. What are we doing?"
The man kind of he sort of immediately whips his horse to start moving faster and speeds, and the cart starts to move a little haphazardly away from you as they start to disappear. Q, you kind of keeping your eyes peeled. Give me a perception check.
15.
15. Okay. Your eyes are darting. You're seeing the brown, orange, burnt umber color of the brush whipping snow. It's a slight blue hint as dusk is approaching. And then you lock onto it. About 60 feet away, you see that same thing, that large white fur covered figure just crawling through the tall grass. You can see sort of the light, the little bit of light reflecting in its eyes, that same like bloodied maw that looks like the skin around the lips has been chewed off by its own. It's like a fur-covered land shark, essentially. That kind of looks like a hyena, lycanthrope, as it's approaching. It's 60 feet away. It stops there.
Kieran whispers to Cal next to him, Guavarine, 60 feet out. He's holding.
Cal switches to his crossbow and shoots at it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, remember that crossbow I had, you guys?
I forgot you had a crossbow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got everything. I'm
But-
festooned with weapons. No, it's really
Alright.
just the 3, actually.
All right. Then I would say roll attack. And we'll enter into it. Actually, no, roll attack. I want to see what you get.
Okay, I got a 20.
All right, that definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. It's a 9 damage. 9 damage.
You know, that's really interesting. In chat, they're referencing a Wendigo, and part of the Guar, which is a homebrewed monster, is somewhat based on a Wendigo. But anyway. What did you get again? What was the damage?
It's only a 9. It's a 9 damage.
Okay, 9 damage. So you're all standing there, ready to attack. You see the crossbow bolt fly. It hits it.
Good hit.
You definitely see that it's gotten hit, and I'm going to roll something.
To see if it runs away.
Yeah.
Coward.
We'll call more guys.
All right. It starts to walk forward a little bit further. But it is definitely a bit more hesitant.
Kieran's gonna fire at it,
Mhm.
but not trying to hit it, trying to hit right in front of it to scare it off.
All right, give me an attack roll.
I'm trying to miss and hit it.
2. You hit it.
I don't remember what my modifiers for this are.
Dexterity. And then do you have...
15.
Okay.
Yeah, I have proficiency.
So
15.
with a 15, I'd say you're able to... It lands right in front of it as this...
Man, knocking things over today, huh, Sean?
I'm a mess. All right. Oh yeah. So the second bolt lands in the snow in front of it, or lands right in front of it. It steps back, and you watch as it halts for a long moment, and you're pausing, and it's tense. Your eyes are darting around, Kieran, as you've felt
Yes.
before, and you're looking on your flank. But it seems like this was a lone hunter that smelled the meats of the cart and thought it was approaching an easy meal. So a few moments go by, some tense breathing as you all see it now. But then it slowly turns around and runs away. So you've avoided that. Any sort of combat with a Guavarine or a Wendigo type creature.
Nasty creatures, those Guavarines. Have you ever faced them? Asking Timber and Scarlet.
Is that what we fought in session 0?
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
Nasty creatures. Good shot, Cal.
Thank you. It took me forever to get the blood out of my clothes the last ones we fought, so I figured we should do this at range.
Right.
Well done, folks. Good job.
Was it last time you fought like 3 of them, I think, or 4 of them?
Yeah, and I stuck my
Yeah.
sword through its brain pan, and it just it's everywhere.
Kieran just touched one and it wilted away.
Oh, that's right. You used inflict wounds on it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So successfully, we're going to continue moving on towards the latter half of your journey, the last few hours. It's getting dark now. It's almost completely dark. You've probably traveled about at a fast pace. You've gone quite quite a ways. You've made good progress despite the storm. From Wiswick's map, loosely and kind of keeping track of your time, you've traveled about 8 or 9 hours. So you would have made it probably halfway there, if not a little bit further. If there's, you'll likely reach the point to go off the road about midday tomorrow, and you'll reach the actual area of Bracken Hill. DM,
You got it. You got it.
Heels. Bracken Hill. You'll reach the outskirts of Bracken Hill around sunset tomorrow, maybe a little bit earlier, if you don't have any encounters. So, would you like to keep traveling beyond sort of when you're tired, or would you like to camp for the night?
Shortly after like this attack, Kieran would be looking for a suitable spot not too far off the road, in a more wooded area to set up camp.
All right, give me a perception check. -5.
Timber would be as well.
I think
16.
as soon as Wiswick realizes that they're doing this, he marks a small marking on his estimate of where he is on his map.
Yeah.
Just so, like, if we ever go off the beaten path, we know how to get back to where we are. Like, just wrote down a quick description of like his current surroundings.
Okay. Timber, what'd you get?
I didn't roll.
You got a 16.
Wait, -5, right?
Yep.
7.
Okay. So Q, as you're approaching sort of that 8th, 9th hour, when people are really starting to get tired, Wiswick is really huffing and puffing, and everyone's sort of starting to slow down. You do notice off to the left side, there is a bit of open forest. It's not like a dense forest where you'd have trouble finding a spot to really rest, but it's sort of a cluster, a little grove. And as you approach it, each of you sort of notice in this general area, there's some large stones all about that are not like boulders. They look like hewn stone that are covered in overgrowth and some snow. They look like they're like buried in the ground. Half of them, they look like they're of some ancient structure. They're very weather worn. And you see, as you enter into the grove where you're going to rest for the evening, you do also notice kind of a large half, like a really weathered face, like the head of a large statue that is half buried. It's barely recognizable what the face looked like. If it was a human, an elf, anything, it's just sort of like you can identify where the groove of the nose might be, where a lot of overgrowth has gathered, and that there's some strange ornament on the head that's been loosely lost visage-wise. There seems to be just sort of the refuse of an ancient statue all about this grove, which Wiswick you can mark on your map as a landmark.
Great. Okay. I do so.
Relics of a bygone era. I do love getting out.
I think Wiswick immediately is kind of intrigued by the statue, and will take out some of his like mining tools and perhaps try and clear some of that overgrowth and just investigate the ruins for any general, like any runes or any types of evidence of what type of religion or community this structure had come.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a investigation check.
I'd like to think on this and see if I know who would have owned this territory long ago.
Dirty 20.
Give dirty 20. Excellent. Cal, give me a history check. The rest of you, are you settling in or are you doing something?
Timber doesn't care about history. He wants to just set up camp and make sure everybody's okay.
Okay. So are you, Scarlett, what are you up to?
Still pissed, so just kind of brooding.
Brood away, Miss Rogue.
Timber will instruct Scarlet to make a fire now that he knows she can do it.
Do you want to help Timber set up camp?
Sure.
Okay, so it's not too difficult for you all to get a fire going and start unrolling your bedrolls. I don't think any of you. Oh, Wiswick, you have a tent, but it's a gnome. Cal, what'd you get in your
14.
Okay. So Wiswick, you do start to clear away some of the overgrowth, and there's not a lot of detail on the statue, even underneath the overgrowth. You do start to notice that there's several fresher carvings. And by fresh, I mean not ancient. Like they could have been over the last decades. Some of them are smoothed over, so they're definitely older. Some of them are a little bit more rough. It essentially is medieval graffiti.
Less degraded.
Yeah. It's like if you go to visit like Ireland and go to any of like the ancient tombs, they're like, and here's the graffiti from the Roman era that says this was Romanus. But no, you do find a lot of carvings in it that are several different languages. You see a few that are in common that are just sort of like brief little things. Some of them are literally like, here came timber. Here past Halfdar. Here past whatever.
Chum bucket.
But then you see some other symbols that are individual symbols. There's some runes. There's some sigils. Not much that you can make out from them, other than you can identify that this has been here undisturbed for so long that it has acquired a lot of visitors, travelers who've spent the night here. Actually, while Timber and Scarlet are working to create a camp, they do find the remnants of old campfires here, and evidence of previous tenets, so to speak, of this little ruined statue circle. It's very interesting, but you can't gain too much new information.
I think that at this point, Wiswick takes out some of his mining tools and begins etching his own graffiti into one of the smoother areas.
Yep. What do you
Come on, what are you doing?
What do you etch into this this antiquity?
That's history, man. You can't be doing that.
Mage in a cage.
I very tempting. I think he spends a little bit more time than he sees the other people have done and makes like a smooth, intricate, like marking, kind of like a tribal style, like artistry that goes before his little writing and after. And in the center, he writes, Wiswick was here. Snurfneblin of many fames.
Lovely.
What language is that in?
Gnomish, of course.
Of course.
I would say you do notice a few Gnomish inscriptions on there. No deep gnome inscriptions. Right. Nothing that references the Zverneblin. But
I would imagine that the little flourishes that I put on the sides is something that is specifically deep gnome. So if I didn't see any of those, that would be like something that like if anybody knew about the deep gnomes, they would immediately recognize. Yeah.
You don't recognize any deep gnome iconography that would indicate this. You do notice the land gnomes to you, your cousin race of gnomes. You do notice some etchings of their lot.
Might I ask, is there any of the gnomish that has a gnomish name in the words?
As in someone writing their name?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just generate a gnome name real quick.
Okay.
I would say as you're looking at these, you start to kind of like dash between the gnomish markings. You do notice it's not the same symbol that was above Angus's door, but you see sort of a slight variation of that symbol that is in the area that you uncovered. It's not a swirl like that, but it kind of has a similar feel to it in the sense that it's a swirl that then leads into another swirl, and it just makes you think of it's not necessarily connected, but it just reminds you of that symbol.
I think after I finish, I take my time with my own carving and like looking around, but I do eventually I take out my pack and I throw my tent on the ground, but I don't set it up yet. I just say that, like, I just leave it out, and I go up to Scarlet, and I want to beckon her over and just say,
Hey, are you still mad at me? I know you're still mad at me.
Yeah.
Come take a look at this, please.
Fine. Roll my eyes and walk over.
You also, I'll just say, you notice while you were looking at that symbol, you do notice two gnomish names that stand out to you. One says, here past Valksrim the Magnificent, extraordinary tinkerer of the Gwyn Empire. And you also notice Eneric, Lady of the Mountain. It's uncertain if Eneric herself carved here or someone who fancied Eneric carved it here. But they're the two that stand out the most. They're I'd say Eneric's is pretty worn, but Valksim's slightly fresh. Not necessarily like he was here yesterday, but definitely carved within a year or two of now.
okay, good to know.
Is it?
Might be.
Ooh, scandalous.
All right, so Wiswick brings you over, Scarlet, to this head of the statue, and you start to see that it's covered in patches throughout with carvings where there's smooth stone, like a piece of stone that's been touched too much by people, like the Blarney stone almost, where it's that really weird smooth stone, and then there's patches of carved stone throughout that has these symbols on it.
Does any of it look like thieves' cant?
Give me an investigation check.
12.
12. At first, no. You're looking around. Wiswick shows you the symbol he saw. It's not recognizable as thieves' cant to you. But as you're looking at it and looking through, you do eventually find one symbol that is kind of off on its own, away from the other symbols. It doesn't have a lot around it. And it is 3 lines through each other. So an X and then a line through the center of that X, with a circle drawn around in the center, almost like a snowflake. You recognize this symbol roughly as a variation of a symbol you recognize from Oxlin Thieves' Cant, and that you're not certain, but it could mean that this is a common drop-off site and camp for passerbys of the lifestyle.
Okay. Making that rough translation, can I look around and see if there's anything interesting?
Sure.
If anything was dropped off?
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
Yeah, 22.
Oh, fuck. So you begin looking around, and by the time Scarlet starts looking around, Wiswick, you kind of notice she kind of just walks away from you at one point after kind of looking through. She ignores the symbol you showed her. She starts to walk around. Timber, she's already set up the fire. You're kind of finding your own spot to relax in. Kieran, I'm assuming you're doing the same. And Cal, I'll get to you in a second with your history check. You got a 14, right? Okay.
Wiswick's just being clingy. He's gonna follow Scarlet around.
Okay.
Quietly.
As far as Cal, as far as you know, from that role, it could be this statue is seemingly very old, so it could be it seems like it's probably pre-Quintarchy, at least.
Yeah. Is it pre-Moray Seer?
No, it doesn't seem pre-Morrisier. If anything, it seems like it might be like very early post-Morrisier. It potentially could be. You know that at one point Zverwold really controlled a lot of this territory from the history books you've read. So potentially this is a Zveroldian statue, or it could be a very, very ancient Tresix statue.
The people of Salt and Rock.
Correct.
Well,
the first humans on this continent.
I don't entirely know what this is from, but I could tell you that it's post Mauricia, obviously, by the fact that it's mostly still standing. And I'd say it's got to be less than 700 years old.
He is announcing this as everyone is about their business, similar to the stonework of Magonset.
Yep. And then I
think Wiswick is very interested in this and might even get distracted enough for Scarlet to walk away.
I'm imagining Wiswick is like moving between Scarlet and Cal and making a last second choice of who he's going to sit down next to.
I would then sit down and start prepping things while singing to myself.
Okay. You got a 22, right, Scarlet?
Mm-hmm.
So you start searching around. Some instincts start to kick in. You haven't done this in a while. It's probably been like 6 months since you've really like searched out a hot spot. And you start thinking about the usual places. You start investigating some of the larger stones, looking for crevices, looking for this or that. You start looking at evidence in the ground of traction. You eventually go and you find a particular spot. So the structure of this circle is there's a very large stone that looks like it's the remnants of the foundation of this statue. And then there's several pieces sticking out that are the statue. There's the head is the most prominent one. But then you find off to the side, kind of near the head, a little inconspicuous, covered in a lot of overgrowth, is a couple of pieces, almost like a shoulder, a piece of like a sword sticking out. They're all kind of coming together at a pyramid point with a lot of overgrowth around it. You come up to this and you start to like rub away the overgrowth and you stick your hand inside. Give me a quick insight check, actually.
I hurt myself today.
15.
Actually, no. I take that back. Give me a dexterity check. You can do the same roll. Do a
Dexterity.
yeah, just a straight dexterity check.
Okay, 17.
17? Okay. You very briefly, you pull your hand back real quick. You very briefly, the tip of your hand brushes against a wire.
Should have checked for traps.
So give me a thieves' tools check.
Okay.
This is day in the DM's the DM tips for classes that you haven't played much yet.
Is that Dex plus proficiency? Or just proficiency?
Dex plus proficiency, yes, because you're a proficient in thieves' tools.
23.
23.
Yeah.
So very easily identify the trap. You can see from that roll, you can see you have two choices. You can try to disarm the trap, or you can try to dexterously move through it and grab, because you do see, as you're investigating the trap, there is a sack in there.
Okay. What would she do? I think I'll try and dexterously move my hand around it.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a dexterity roll.
23.
Okay. So you find the right pockets. You can kind of tell from your experience that this is meant to be untriggered by the person picking it up. Like they should know how to maneuver around the wire. And you easily find your way through, pull the sack out, and you have a sack now. Inside of it is 50 gold, worth of sapphires.
Ooh. I'll put that stealthily right in my pocket.
Please tell me I get a chance to notice this.
Nope.
Give me a stealth check.
And you could have it all.
Kira,
My
Cal, I do love your singing.
empire.
24.
Yeah, no
Oh.
one sees you.
It's so distracting.
I will let you down.
Cal, you're so emotional.
It's
Where's
just the
that?
end of the day. It's
Where'd
the end
that
of the
deep
day
baritone come?
Song. It's the end of the day song.
All right, so Scarlet returns. Wiswick, you had stopped to listen, so you did not follow her to the spot. You stopped to listen to Cal talk a little bit about history, and then he began singing as everyone started to gather close around the fire to end the evening. Is there anything anyone would like to do before you all go to bed?
Yes. Could I, in my thieves' tools stuff, is there anything that I could like use to chisel something onto the rock?
Yeah, I'd say you have like
Yeah.
a file that you could do a shallow
Okay.
chisel.
Okay.
I'll lend her my tools.
I'm not talking to you.
I'd say, Wiswick, you do notice her starting to chisel into the stone.
Yeah, I attempt to. I come up to her with like a little chisel of my own, like a little stone cutter.
Nope, I ignore you.
Okay.
I just like hold it out and then I just like let it down and just walk away.
No.
All right,
It's very
Scarlet,
hard for Shannon to do.
What are you, what are you carving in?
So I would like to carve, and Scarlet is no artist, but I would like to carve a rough image of 2 crossed pickaxes engulfed in flames.
Okay.
And I can text you what that is.
I have a feeling I know what it is, but please do text me what it is.
Yep.
Text us.
Nope.
Okay.
It's not great, but it's looking at it, you can tell roughly what it is. It might take a second. They're like, what are those shapes? Oh, pickaxes.
Mhm.
But it is identifiable.
Cool.
All right. Anything else before y'all go to bed?
I set up my tent. I set up some alarms.
I figured you would.
We'll say I do 3 in a triangular fashion surrounding our camp area. Maybe not too far away from camp, maybe like 30 feet. And they're a 20-foot radius each.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
20-foot diameter.
Just
not
just
radius.
say you space them out.
Yeah. Because I think you can only
fashion.
put one alarm spell down.
Oh, is it concentration? I don't.
Not that it's
I don't think-
concentration, but I think the idea is that you. I mean, I guess technically.
Choose a door, window, or an area within range that is no larger than 20-foot cube. So I guess 20-foot cube would be the maximum. So it would be just one.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take the 20-foot cube that is. Maybe I'll set up my tent somewhere near the runes so I have like a wall to my back.
The runes or the ruins?
The runes. That's the correct pronunciation to all Snurfneblin.
Okay.
Because I'm going to keep making that mistake and it's canon now.
Easy enough. I generally would allow you to set it up kind of as like a consistent like wire almost, since there's that silver wire aspect to it. You can kind of set it up in the shape you want. I'd say.
Yeah, my idea is like I want to make it so I have like a wall or something to my back, and the alarm will be directly behind that wall.
Yep, easy enough to do. You can do that against the head of the statue, which is the largest structure.
Great.
Everyone going to bed?
I have one thing I want to do before I go to bed.
Okay. Go for it.
Not quite sure how to explain it, but I want to like sense or try and feel if somebody is scrying on me. I don't know if I can't do that, but like just as a paranoid kind of thing.
So
Yeah.
the Endurian, sorry.
we will no longer have meta sense. No one is Deadpool here. I would say that from henceforward, unless you're unconscious when it's happening to you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to likely follow the scrying spell rules and have you roll the saves for them.
Okay.
But failing them or succeeding on the saves doesn't mean you know you've been scryed on.
Okay.
There's no way to know you've been scryed on. Really, all you can do is kind of sit there and kind of paranoidly attempt to put feelers out. But there's no unless you have detect magic or you have the ability to see invisible things, because you can technically see the invisible eye that appears for scry if you have that. But in your current state, all you can do is really paranoidly try to put feelers out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, which I say you can very easily kind of wrap yourself in your blanket, kind of just like as the fire is sort of burning, everyone's falling asleep, just sort of as the night comes. Is anyone staying up for watch, or are you all going to depend on Wiswick's alarm, which I know, Kieran, you'll wake up early. So you can choose to take the first half or second half of the long rest to be awake.
I can take the first watch if you want to take the second.
Kieran was going to bring that up. He's going to be like, so do we want to put up a watch?
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
I'll take the first if you want to take the second.
Sounds good.
I'd rather stay up than wake up, you know?
I'll take the third.
There's a third watch.
If you guys if anyone stays up, it extends your long rest. Other than Kieran, who obviously has his trance ability,
right?
You stay up.
Take a short rest.
It extends. Well, no. You're not going to want to do a short rest. You'll get exhaustion points tomorrow.
I'll take 5 short rests.
Not that kind of game. Not that kind of DM. If anyone stays up, you got to do a 12-hour long rest for everyone to get the long rest.
Jesus.
Because everyone has to get 8 hours of rest other than Kieran. So it extends the long rest into 12 hours if anyone stays up for a watch.
What are exhaustion points going to do to me?
Exhaustion points, so level 1 of it. If you stay up longer than a certain amount of hours without a long rest, then you start to have to make constitution saving throws to stave off exhaustion. Each level of exhaustion exhibits further and further decline in you. The first one, you start getting disadvantage on skill checks. There's 6 levels. Eventually, you can't walk, and eventually you die.
I think the second one is lower your movement speed. Third one is you suck at attacking everything, and then you're pretty.
Yeah, I've got them in my notes somewhere. But I do know at least the first one. At the first one, you'll start getting. I love exhaustion points though, but the first one you definitely get disadvantage on.
And Sean, if I can usually go with about 5 hours of sleep, Cal can't.
Cal cannot if he wants to operate at 100.
All right.
Because even Tim gets at least level 1 exhaustion at some point if he doesn't sleep enough.
Tim's not also on the Oregon Trail going at
my
a
record's about
blistering.
6 days. Not totally awake. That's ridiculous.
You guys are getting to sleep though around I'd say 10 or 11. So 12 hours is not going to be too late in the day. You'd still be able to make decent time.
All right, fine.
But here we go. Level 1, disadvantage on ability checks. Level 2, speed halved. Level 3, disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. Level 4, hit point maximum halved. 5, speed reduced to 0. 6, death.
Clayton, you got an A on the test.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close, yeah. Exhaustion's a bit.
Runway 12 hours.
Okay. So, who is on first watch?
Cal.
Okay. So Cal, give me a perception check with disadvantage.
You sack of shit.
Because you can't see shit, human.
Before falling asleep. Oh wait, it's
too
10
late.
Minutes, never mind. It's 10. It's only 10 minutes left. So.
Okay, well that was a natural 20. But now it is an fucking. I can do math. What are you talking? I can do math. It's like a 30.
Okay.
By that I mean
I'd say, all right. So I'd say you spend that first 4 hours looking around, trying to keep awake. I'd say you fall asleep a little early just from the roll, but nothing happens though. All seems still. The night is dark and it's very cold, and the fire starts to go out. But your watch passes with no issue as Curon comes out of his trance to take over the second watch.
He's already fallen asleep. How cute. And Kieran would go the blanket around Cal and tuck him in.
All right, Curon, you give me your perception check.
$16.
Okay. So I'd say during your watch, not much happens either. The clouds start to the storm is ending. Still cold, but you get a glimpse of the moon in the sky. It's bright. It's not quite full, but it's quite large in the sky. It's a moment of respite. Seeing the moon reminds you of home, reminds you of Ilivania. You clutch at your relic, and your watch passes with no issue.
I think upon seeing it, Kieran would put out a little prayer to Illivan, asking for her blessing and guidance upon this adventure, and to find out, what the machinations behind the general and the lord and what's going on. And he's scared and confused, and who are these people he's with, and why don't they trust anyone? The world is so scary. Why did I ever leave my village?
I would say the general clearing of the sky, of clouds, and the brightness of the moon does feel like a good sign to you. It does feel like in your faith, it feels like a good sign, a good omen for what you are doing.
Thank you.
But your watch passes without issue. Timber, you awake to find Curon gazing up at the bright moon. You yourself look up at the moon, and sort of begin to take the last watch. Give me a perception check.
Can Curon give him assistance or do his own perception?
You can, because you're awake. You're not going to go back to sleep, so you can.
17.
21.
Okay. So Curon continues to watch the bright moon in the sky with a smile on his face, occasionally bowing his head in prayer. Timber, you keep your eyes out on the towards the road and towards the darkness about. The fields below this, it's somewhat elevated spot are empty, and you see the dark forests in the distance on the horizon, and mountains all lit up by the moon, and you hear just slightly the howling of wolves in the distance, but they're too far away and they're no threat to you. But your watch goes without issue. Slowly, everyone else begins to awake as the moon fades in the sky and the sun rises. You see the faint outline of the moon and the outline of the Vero, the gas giant in the sky. But the day is upon you, and everyone awakens. What's the plan? Anything before you set back on the road?
Let us make haste. Come on, wake up.
Okay.
I prepare my spells.
This day.
Cal springs to his feet and stretches whilst packing everything up.
Mm-hmm. Easy enough. Is there anything you'd like to do before you leave the camp?
Yeah, I would say Wiswick just hurriedly, while preparing his spells, he also just casts Mage Armor on himself. Now.
Okay. That's 8 hours, right?
Yep.
All right. So you hit the road. You start heading north again. The day is quite clear. The storm has passed for now. The skies are cloudy, but you can see the bright blue of the sky. There is a layer of snow on the ground, about 2 inches. There is still wind whipping around, but you can see much clearer today.
We're off to see the tower. The wonderful
Easily
tower
enough, the first couple hours pass by, and then Wiswick kind of shouts out to the group. We're here. It's the spot where you have to start getting off the road and heading west. So to your left, I guess, on the road heading north, you see sort of the wilderness about you. There's it seems to head downhill at a slight angle, but there are quite a few trees. You can't really see off into the distance. You just have to kind of, I guess, head west into these this small wood.
We could head west into this small wood. And okay, sounds
Timber,
good.
you seem, it's just like, Timber, you seem like you want to do something.
Yeah, I was just debating something. Sorry. I think at this point, Timber is going to go back into wolf form.
Okay. Easy
Is the
enough.
tower an eye shot?
I'd say give me. Well, no, where you are right now, no. You see the distance starts to fog up. You do notice kind of at the elevation you're at that the trees do cut off about a mile in, roughly a mile in, but and that's presumably getting close to the area where the Bracken Hill, sort of that region begins, sort of the what was mentioned to you, the marshlands surrounding Bracken Hill. So if there's nothing else-
Timber's going to lead the way into the woods as a wolf.
Okay. All right, Timber's leading the group.
Kieran would be following close behind.
I'll be in the back.
Okay.
Same with Lucy.
Okay, and Cal in the middle. All right, so you head through the woods. It's fairly it's not dense woods, and the trees are all leafless, so it's sort of this glade that you're moving through with a lot of dead, rotten leaves in the brush below, patches of snow, occasional wisps of fog. You get through. It's all kind of this downward spiraling path that leads. Eventually, you can start to see the trees clearing, and in the distance, you can see sort of the starting of boglands. And as you're descending down, you approach Bracken Hill proper. Probably a few hours later, hiking through the woods. And as you descend into the deeper brush, and the sickly winter trees fade around you, you come upon the fog-ridden expanse that is Bracken Hill and the marshlands around it. Probably a mile to this bogland is the rough silhouette of a ruined tower. There's the fog is thick around here, so you seem to be in some sort of basin where the fog is laid thick close to the ground. You can see sort of patches of water and mud, but also ice over some of these patches of water. Difficult to see where you're walking with the fog. But a mile in, you see sort of the jagged outline of a ruined tower. No pristine, crenellated, just sort of this jagged thing jutting out of the swamp. You do see very faintly in the center of this tower wall a small light that seems it's shining a dull orange, like a torch or some sort of sconce within the tower.
So this isn't supposed to be occupied, right?
No, Wayla did mention in the Arch Druid's journal another called Mandrick.
Okay.
Or Man. I know that much. Kind of like Mandrake, as if to confuse.
Right, because that's the root raft. Is that the medicine raft?
Yes,
Yes.
that's what Timber requested in order to help cure the ailing villagers.
Right. Well, shall we?
Yep.
Might
As
I offer? Should we introduce ourselves?
And I make
Yes.
get
And
some
I reach out my hand to shake his hand, and I go,
Wizwick laughs and shakes it.
good one. But I meant, should I send Jet over there with a note? I mean, it seems like it might be dangerous, but he might have some guidance as to how to get there safely. Maybe he could relay some information before we get there. I don't know. He might be a dangerous folk himself, but
I don't believe this is a man we can trust.
This sounds an awful lot like he's part of that whole, secret murder cult. So
Yes,
maybe
I believe
not.
he has
well,
ties to the
Circle of the Ad. No.
the chained god that was controlling the Arch Druid.
the Ash Father,
Ashkeeper.
Ashkeeper.
Well, no, the Ash Keeper was the dead god that the Arch Druid worshipped. However, the one with the pallid mask, I believe, has connections to a chained god, whose name
Is it the darkened one? Is it Abraxas, or is it perhaps the wayward one? They're different gods.
Yes. Oh, Cal, I'm surprised you know so much about religion.
How
Yes,
about
well,
the Stormlord?
How about the
I don't-
Stormlord?
I don't know that much about. We're not in Sivia anymore. They don't. I mean, I don't know. I'm not religious myself, but I like to know things. And then I start walking forwards carefully.
Okay.
How long of a walk is it to the tower?
So it's hard to tell because of the fog.
Yes.
It's hard to, for all intents and purposes, what you can see, the tower seems like it's a mile away. But
Okay.
you're moving through a marsh, so it's a matter of safe grounding getting to the tower. So it could be that the tower is a mile away, but walking straight through will land you right into the muck of the swamp. So you kind of have to take it slow and easy, steady.
Okay.
Just hear me out, folks. What if we tell him we have the mask? Then he has incentive keep us alive.
No, he has incentive to kill us and take the mask. What are you talking about?
I don't know. We get him out of the tower.
try
I don't
our
know.
hardest to
I'm
just get there.
spitballing here.
Without him noticing, and we deal with him when we get there.
I
Okay.
like Kieran's idea. I was thinking we just woke up.
Yes.
I can try and sneak inside if you need me to.
Thankfully,
Hmm.
a voice of reason. I think that's a phenomenal plan.
Yeah.
So, Wiswick, I think some of this, my guess is, if anything, this is magically ensorcelled. So, I don't know,
True.
clear that for us, perhaps?
Yeah, that might be difficult to detect, but I can try. There's also the possibility of perhaps using the invisibility spell if we think we are moving in unannounced.
So that worked out
Yeah.
so well last time.
That
It worked for most of the time.
wasn't Cal laughing. Sorry.
I'd say as you're walking down slowly, having this conversation, keeping your eye out, I suppose, you do kind of come upon the first sort of section of the swamp where you're no longer on the hill, but you're on the actual solid land on the outskirts of the swamp. You notice in front of you, you can see, not too far ahead of yourself, probably 50 feet or so, maybe a little bit less. There's very dense fog. You can see above the fog. We can see occasional small gnarled trees sticking up. And you can see occasionally around you can see where the land kind of dips down into what appears to be water that's in the process of melting. So there's some parts that are frozen over a little bit. You see sections of a few times you step and slip a little bit because you're in what appears to be slowly melting ice and snow that's kind of bringing up. Much of it is still frozen as far as any land here in the water. So there are some patches where it looks like there's thick ice, but it's in the process of slowly thawing since we are. Some of it even froze up a little bit in the storm the night prior, but it's relatively temperate today. Not frigid or not warm, but it's definitely above freezing. But as you approach this central area, you notice before you 3 paths that seem to go into the swamp and have solid land to them. In the center of this sort of not makeshift, but small patch of dry land is a very small stone pillar that has a single amethyst gem embedded into it in the front.
Cast detect magic on the stone.
Okay.
Well, first I read what's on the stone, if it has any words.
There are no words on the stone.
Okay, it's just the gem.
There's a gem in the center, and on the left and the right, there are 2 empty gem sockets.
Oh.
When you cast detect magic, it
Ritually.
does ritually. Okay, so we take 10 minutes. It does light up with a strong abjuration magic.
Yes. This is definitely a magical tool. I believe that it's quite powerful. Abjuration magic. My guess is it's some sort of warding device. We probably have to collect the runes that go inside of these sockets, the gems, in order to proceed.
Well, that makes sense to me. Cal starts looking around for gems.
Give me an investigation check. They're here. They were just at the base of the statue.
17.
17. Okay. So there's no gems around here. I would say with that investigation check, though, you see on the ground around the statue, there's a path directly forward, a path to your left, and a path to your right. There seems to be footsteps, sort of like scuffled snow and dirt. It looks like it's well trodden that go to your left. And you notice kind of on the structure itself, the stone pillar, there's a lot of like scratch marks at the top that are shallow, that look like three clawed scratch marks. Yeah, and they're all over the top of it and around one of the gem sockets. Actually, around all 3 gem sockets, there is scratch marks, like talons almost.
Let's investigate this leftmost path.
I want to summon Jet,
Mm-hmm.
and I sent him down the leftmost path ahead of us.
Okay. As soon as Jet reaches the beginning of that path and crosses over the threshold of it, a wall of thick up and actually wraps around Jet, completely encasing him in it, and starts to slowly constrict around him.
Can I dispel him?
You can. You have just enough time to dispel him out of it. But this sort of wall of thorns that sort of amass up over it sort of was about to essentially just crush him between them.
Okay, they're slow moving then, but they like slowly constrict.
Yeah, they slowly constrict, yeah. And I'd say because he's a small flying creature, he was able to get out of there or with your snap, but a larger creature going through would be wrapped up much quicker.
Okay.
In a sense of things to latch on to.
I stare at the wall of thorns and I go, boy, I hate magic. Right side then, and then I spin around on my heel, and I like poke my sword at the right side of the threshold.
Whoa. I know we're trying to get there fast and all, but I mean, I don't want to put Jet in any more danger. Maybe I just take my time, cast another ritual, and we'll slowly do this thing the detect magic way.
Why don't we just take out the gem that's in there? Maybe that will disable it completely.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Kieran walks over and
Cal
goes
gets
to
a little sees his sword and just kind of
So as soon as you take the gem out, you see directly across from you the path that leads forward. You see immediately vines shoot up and then slowly settle down to the ground on the path directly across from you, as if taking the gem out activated the same sort of warding. Without the gem in it, that path was also warded with this divine wall.
Kieran puts it in the left socket.
Yes.
So it's you putting it in the left socket. It fits in.
Then he walks over to where the vines were, and with his quarterstaff, kind of starts poking out to see if the vines activate.
They still activate. They it fit in there, indicating that it's a gem of the same sort, at least. But this gem seems to have not affected the left wall, as the vines sort of they start to like grab onto your staff. Give me a strength check.
So
I run over and help him.
Okay.
As they're doing that, can I sneakily take out one of the sapphires and see if it fits?
It doesn't fit. The sapphire's too small.
16.
18.
Okay. You're able to rip your staff from the vine's grasp.
Thank you,
I
Cal.
hate this shit. This whole place is fucking horseshit. I'm telling you right now.
So it seems like we'll have to walk down the center path first.
Sounds like a plan.
Kieran goes back and puts the gem into the center socket.
The vines dissipate.
Wisvik just nods as he's doing all of this.
And then starts to walk down the center path, but like kind of looks back at his companions as he does it to see if anyone comes with him.
Timber will slowly follow behind. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna send Jet forward first this time because I feel like this is probably correct.
Okay, so Jet is flying ahead. Is he just flying straight ahead, like 10 feet or so?
Yeah, I would say about 15 feet if he doesn't run into anything, comes back.
Okay. So Jet kind of fluttering back and forth between you, doesn't really trigger anything. As you're walking through, you can kind of see, you're kind of looking to your left and right every now and then, keeping an eye forward. It starts to get very narrow, the lands that you can occupy. Huron, your passive perception, you are able.
17.
Oh, don't worry, I got a little note here for myself now. You do hear in the distance, just sort of occasionally to the east, you hear loud screeches. And then occasionally they start as those hoarse screeches and then fade into kind of almost a lilting song that sounds very beautiful. Sort of starts as and then it shifts into like this very beautiful song almost.
Sirens.
Velociraptor sirens.
Kieran,
And you do notice, and you start to notice the path in front of you starts to curve to the east.
Kieran turns back and warns those that followed him. Did everyone follow him? I forget. I apologize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like we're going to be getting into a bit of a trouble up ahead. I don't know what exactly it is, but it screeches like a banshee, then lulls into a soft song. Reminds me of what I've heard of sirens. If any of you are familiar with sirens, they sound like sirens. I don't actually know if that's a
Q, are
D&D
you okay?
monster.
Harpies, maybe.
Oh, harpies. Yeah, that makes more sense. And then he's gonna cast Detect Evil and Good.
Okay. Can you read me the description for that spell again?
For the duration, 10 minutes, you know if there is an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. Similarly, you know if there is a place or object within 30 feet of you that has been magically consecrated or desecrated. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or hid dirt.
It's the old good and evil X-ray. Lead. I don't know.
You said 30 feet, right?
I tapped him.
Lead.
Destined to get foiled.
And list the types of
The evil
creatures.
guy was in the X-ray room. So
We got aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead.
You get occasional glimmers of undead beneath the surface of the water.
Oh.
As you look, though, you do kind of occasionally see underneath the ice little lights.
Elves and orcs.
And then at one point, since you're looking at the ice, as you're approaching kind of the side, you're curving around, you see slightly under the ice. Something moves very large that does not glimmer like any of those good or evil creatures you detect. It's just you see the ice kind of.
Boy,
point
I
this
don't
out
like this.
to my
You also see like those. They're wisps. They're wisps.
Yeah, Kieran was going to say, I believe I know where that wisp came from we fought in the dungeon.
Do you happen to know what that large shape is moving under the ice?
It's not good or evil.
Did you say
It's a dino.
monstrosity amongst those things?
A what?
Did you say monstrosity? Okay, just
No.
checking.
Oh, good.
I would
Unless it's
say
an evil monstrosity.
30 feet. You get a very quick glimmer, about literally 30 feet across, of Fey.
30 feet across which way?
So I'll say for the description, when you're curving around, let me look at my map of the swamp. When you're curving
Can
around.
I see that map?
Also, is anyone like keeping an eye?
Oh, don't worry, Kieran or Stefan. I can screenshot that one little blip.
Anything it's overblown.
Enhance, zoom, enhance.
Sorry.
Is anyone else doing anything besides just
We're
following?
all keeping an eye out.
Yeah, keep it on.
Yeah, I'll keep.
Yeah,
I'll keep it.
Jet's doing the ear.
Okay. What are you specifically keeping an eye out for, and what are you doing?
Enemies, encroaching danger.
Are you looking on the horizon? Are you looking at the water? Are you looking?
I would be looking in the mid ground. So like, cause there's like swamp grass and shit everywhere. So like,
Okay.
I would be looking.
I'll look to the sides.
Okay.
Wiswick's definitely looking at the ground. He saw something moving in the water, and he can't take his eyes off it now.
All right, everyone, give me your perception checks. I'd say Kieran.
20.
Jesus Christ. Freaking.
27, baby.
16.
17.
16.
17.
Ilyuvana has
You guys
definitely
are
smiled
keeping-
upon me this day.
You guys are keeping a strong eye out. All right, so I'd say, Kieran, you're leading the group. Cal, you're right behind him. Wiswick, you're behind them, and Scarlet and Timber in the back. You've come upon a larger patch, and I'd say upon casting your spell is when you're exiting this larger patch towards a narrow pass of land. Cal, you stop Kieran as he's walking. And Kieran, you actually even noticed it as Cal was stopping you, as you were a couple seconds from stepping into a bear trap, a really rusty old bear trap that's about 10 feet in front of you, where the path narrows significantly. And in that moment of stopping, while you still have your spell activated, is when you catch that Fey. It's 30 feet across a still icy water where you saw that large thing go by. You notice there's a patch of land across, and you think you see something run off into the fog. It looked somewhat dog-shaped almost to you.
Like a blink dog.
It's a dog shape, and it's Fey, so maybe. That's what freaking 27 gets you.
Sounds good to me, bucko.
And I'd
That's
say with the
Kira.
27, you do notice a point where where the path you're going on, it has a point where there's about a 10-foot distance between the other patch of land and the path you're on, where there's the water is there between and the ice, the kind of crunchy ice, because it is a lot. It's like cracked ice because of the melting,
Yeah.
and with all the things moving and waking beneath it. And occasionally you'll see just like a bubble as dead things are thawing underneath and releasing their gases. So yeah, that's what you see. The rest of you, keeping an eye to your left and your right, occasionally you also see little lights underneath. I'd say Cal and Wiswick are the only ones who see the mass moving under the ice across the way. The other two of you don't notice that because you're looking about in different ways. So you just narrowly avoid a bear trap.
Ugh.
So step carefully around it, I suppose. But is there anything you'd like to do at this point, or are you moving on?
Moving
We're
on.
gonna need a bigger boat.
I'm gonna cast Path Without a Trace.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you all have +10 to your stealth rolls as long as you stay
Wait,
within.
what?
As long as you stay within 30 feet of Timber.
Oh. Do we know that this is a thing?
I'm assuming he's going to tell you. Well, he's in a wolf form.
No, I'm gonna undo that. And
So he
Wolf.
barks, shave and a haircut.
So Timber, as you stop to avoid this trap, Timber shoots into his hybrid form.
and then closes
casts
his
Path
eyes,
Without
you know,
Trace.
it just does like a one hand kind of thing, and then does this, and then
Yeah, you see
that a whole
Timber
cross?
he does like a sigil as he holds a hand up, and you see sort of out of the sigil, like these wisps of shadow come out of it, and they slowly tendril around each of you, and then sort of lock onto you and dissipate.
Ooh.
As you all feel stealthier.
I believe that this space is a connection to the Feywild. I sense creatures of the Fey nearby. They're watchdogs.
I would say I'd say actually no. Yeah, that distance between those two patches of land is roughly around 8 feet. So you can see the other side.
And the other side is just more nondescript swamp.
It's land. It's a solid piece of land. It's
Okay.
actually it's a piece of land that leads into the fog. It's about 8 feet across, the water between. And where you're standing, you have about 5 or 10 feet in the patch you're in right now.
Right.
And you could all, as you get closer, see this patch of land that's close by, about 8 feet across. And then you see your path keeps going towards the east. At this point, it's curving directly to the east and opening up.
Right. So I heard those harpy-like creatures further along. Do we want to try out across the water over there?
Is it closer to the tower?
It is heading in the direction of the tower. I mean, you can see, no matter where you are in this swamp, you can see the tower. So you do see as you're on this path, you can see that you guys are moving away from the tower, essentially, on this path.
Yes.
I want to command Jet.
Mhm.
Tell him to fly over to the piece of land that's 8 feet away,
Mhm.
and just tell him to go over there, look for gems.
All right, give me an investigation check for Jet.
Also,
He flies.
also more paths. More paths.
more paths.
More paths?
Yeah, because if there's another path that leads us to the tower, we're taking that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't want to go towards the screaming fucking bullshit. Yeah,
But, I mean, Wiswick has a good idea that warding spell device thing probably requires us to get those gems before we can proceed to the final destination.
Alternatively,
So, in the back of his head, he's more prioritizing the gem.
Investigation check for Jet.
Yeah, I don't know what investigation is. What is it? Int?
Intelligence.
All right, so that's -4. So that's a 8.
I mean, it's easy enough for him to at least see around. Nothing happens to him when he passes over. I'd say he even like lands a little bit, and there's nothing like no vines come up and get him.
His eyes don't work too good.
You can vaguely see as he telepathically communicates to you, like, I can't really see too well over here. It's kind of dark and foggy.
I love the fact that he has a southern accent.
I think I kind of see a path to the left, and then it's just
Is that a southern
open.
accent?
I don't know. I'm really just making a high pitched voice.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I see. It's slowly becoming a Long Island accent.
Right.
From southern. I just see. It's also kind of.
I'm sorry, you.
Sorry, Wiswick.
Rage!
But he's sort of flapping around the area and says, I see a path to the west, and I see it expanse to the east. Left is a path, east ground.
Yeah, so there are 2 paths reaching that direction. No gems though.
So essentially what he's saying is to you, like, as you can telepathically know what he's saying. There's a path, like a path you're on, the same thing you're on to the left, and then to the right, it's wide, and it's just the same amount of land moving into the fog. There's not a path. It's just the piece of the islands that you're on that he's on is larger.
I relay this information to the party.
I say we follow the path.
This path or that path?
The path, not the open land.
So the path you're on, or the jump across the 8 feet of water?
Well, we have to jump across the 8 feet of water in order to continue that path.
That path, yeah, towards the tower.
And then, okay, and then there's another path that's going a different.
The path you're on is still heading. It's heading west, and it's opening
Away
up.
from the tower.
So, do you want to jump it?
How far is it? 8 feet?
Yeah.
That seems pretty impossible.
What?
I mean, what is it, like a long jump? Do we have enough distance for a long jump?
I'd say you have just enough distance for a long jump. You're going to do an acrobatics check if you jump over, I'd say. Because for a high jump, or that's a long jump, you have to essentially run 10 feet, and then you can jump up to your strength modifier. You can jump half of that if you don't have the 10 feet. And then when landing on difficult terrain, you do an acrobatics check to see if you land on your feet.
You can jump up to your strength modifier with a 10-foot run?
With a 10, yeah, it's, I mean, D&D rules. If
That's
you're
less than one space.
Right.
What?
That's like 4 feet. Or are you talking about the whole number?
Oh, yeah. No, it's up to your strength modifier, it says.
So my strength modifier is 0. Does that mean I can't make a long jump?
No, I'd say there's got to be a baseline.
No, there's something...
Or is it your strength?
I messed up, guys. Sorry about that.
Wait, what did you mess up on?
No, I just I blocked everybody's frames on
strength score. It's not modifier. It's strength
okay.
score.
My printout is wrong.
I was like,
that's what I figured, yeah, because I was like, oh, and you, like, most people, unless they're like a fighter, cannot jump.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's up to your strength score.
I'd like to jump. You may not. Oh, no, I know, but I can personally jump in real life. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense.
Everyone can make it except me.
I can toss him.
That's true. You can toss him. I'm trying to.
I should pick up the feet, throw anything, or was that only Pathfinder?
Not
Whatever.
the beard.
Oh God.
We're pretty good on the loader references tonight.
Right. All right. So as an action, you can.
Kieran
Oh
jumps.
yeah. I mean, I'd say because Wiswick is like a tiny, even though he counts as a medium creature, he is tiny. I'd say you could attempt to throw him across pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Wait. Can somebody go on the other side first? Ah!
Wait, do you throw him?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Give me
If this gets you killed, we're wrecking it. Good.
give me a dexterity. I guess like a dexterity attack roll.
Yeah. Okay. That's a 21.
Are you
Okay.
proficient with sniff neblins?
If you're proficient with Zwerf Neblin, I'd say Wiswick, you're talking, you're kind of saying to everyone, let's hold on, let's wait till someone, and he grabs you by your bag and tosses you across, and it's terrifying. As you're zooming over, you're like kind of like looking down. Give me an acrobatics check, Wiswick.
Okay. Oh no. Please tell me I have points in acrobatics. All right. So I rolled a 2, which equals 5.
You have a +3 in acrobat. Jesus.
My dex is very nice.
Okay.
So I'd say Cal threw you pretty far. So you're not. I'd say you roll, you fall, you land, and you lose your footing, and you fall back a few feet, and you sort of fall back, and your face lands, and you're looking directly over the edge of the land, directly down, and you just see the crystallized ice and the little wisps, and you hear the ice like to your left as you hear whatever figure is beneath the water moving, but you don't fall into the water.
I got off easy.
I take a running start and long jump after because I don't want to be over there alone too long.
I quickly run as far, back up and run as far away from the water as I can.
I want everyone to make acrobatics checks, jumping over, as long as everyone's doing that, just because it is slightly difficult terrain, being a swamp.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah, running up to it would be difficult.
15.
15, good.
18.
Good. Cal?
4.
21, and I catch Kieran. No, 21.
Kieran. So everyone jumps over. Kieran, you, with all the heavy armor you have on, or not heavy armor, but it poses disadvantage on stealth checks. So I'd say it's a bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
You step back. You go to lunge. You slip a little, so you don't get as much distance as you wanted. And your foot catches the edge, and then you fall backwards. Your back hits the ice, and for a moment, you're on cracking ice. And I say you all have a single moment.
Do we have
to do something?
Dexterity saving throws on our end to pull him out?
Well, no, you'd have to go and attempt to pull him out. He's not far. Like, you can try to pull him out, but the ice is cracking beneath him.
Right. I was muted. Yes, I'm pulling him out.
I'm pulling. Yeah, I'm helping pull him out.
As I go to reach for someone, is there any way I can cast guidance on them? I continue to forget to use this. It's a touch, so it is touch.
You should have used it on yourself before you jumped.
Yeah, well, like I said, I keep forgetting about it, and now that I'm in peril,
I got a natural 20.
Oh.
Okay, all right.
All right.
All right. Frick.
What do you do, Cal? Do you just roll a natural 20?
Yeah, he just rolled natural 20. So you see Cal, I'd say
it's technically 22.
Cal jumped before Kieran. He landed, he turned around as Kieran was falling back. Kieran still falls for a moment. You see him disappear off the edge. And you lunge down, you reach your hand out to grab him. Kieran, you reach up and grab his hand. I'd say you still cast the guidance just because that was your plan.
Yeah.
Cal,
I
even though
rolled a 19 after that.
even though you're on it, you catch his hand, you feel some magic surge into you. You pull him up. As he pulls you up, Kieran, all the ice shatters beneath you and cracks and drifts apart. As you see, your heel touches the water, and you just see about 6 wisps. And they're just like spinning around where your heel touched. And you hear the ice to your right. As something is coming towards this spot. But you're on dry land.
Yeah, Kieran's
Dry.
gonna back away from the edge and go, thank you, Cal. I believe we should avoid the water at all costs.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe I'm getting.
Shannon
sorry,
and
That's
Alex know
definitely the
about
vibe I'm getting.
swamps in my games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty rough.
And you don't want to fight
We
anything
could
in
have
there.
used the
You don't want to get
lasso.
stuck in them.
You don't want to get stuck in them
leeches.
or fight anything in them.
All right, what are you guys doing? You see to
Uh,
your left, you see a path, and you see to your right it's somewhat foggy, but the land expands out.
Proceed.
Gonna go to where it's spreading out.
Okay. So as you approach the spread out area, you actually come upon slowly the fog drifts as you move through it. What looks like like a ruined village almost, like a very small, like a little like burnt out hovel to your left, a larger collapsed barn to your right with some of the wood in the ground sticking out of the mud that's sticking out. The ground is very muddy here, like too muddy for the temperature. Like as soon as you step closer, your feet like. You hear behind you. Who's in the rear?
Me.
You hear behind you. As you look behind, and you see about 30 feet away from you. Not really, at this point, not noticing you. I'd say even though you didn't stealth, I'll say you at least are still covered in Pass Without a Trace. And this thing doesn't see very well. A very large worm-like creature. It has these pale eyes. It has tendrils all around its face, almost like a beard. It's thick and bulbous, like a worm. It's yellow, a sickly yellow, as it's just sort of like looking around, as it has these 2 mandibles coming out that can like pull into what looks like a leech-like mouth, as it's just... And it hasn't seen you yet, but it's looking for you.
Cool.
Sort of stealth. We're
Yeah.
gonna-
You all heard it.
Yeah,
You all
so
heard
We're
it.
all gonna stealth.
Yeah.
As you look behind you and you see the silhouette of this water dripping off of it, an ice piece falls off its back as it's just a... So everyone give me a stealth roll.
And we
Anyway-
get
Plus 10.
Yeah.
Have I seen anything like this in the Underdark before?
Give me a nature check.
Okay, my stealth was 23.
Okay.
Kieran's stealth was 19.
Okay.
My
Dirty
nature
20.
check is a 16.
21, Cal?
Dirty 20, sorry.
30, 20. Scarlet?
36.
Fucking Rose. Scarlet disappears into the shadows.
Yep.
Not even
Timber.
a shadow.
27.
Right there. She just made it.
You look at her and she's just... She's actually just standing behind a tree, really standing like.
Yeah.
Timber, what'd you get?
27.
Okay. All right. So you guys see, as far as you know, the creature, you successfully stealth away from it. You kind of, I imagine you all just sort of rushing forward and hiding amongst the ruins of this hovel as the creature and disappears into the water. Wiswick, you're not familiar with this particular species, but it does remind you of some large blind worms from underneath in the Underdark. Not a direct line, but probably a relative species-wise of, say, purple worm or any kind of rock-eating worm. This one, though, looks like it probably is some sort of bottom feeder that lives in this swamp that potentially probably feasts on either opportunistic prey or already dead things that fall and sink into the water.
Terrible beast. Usually a scavenger.
Shh.
So you're in this little burnt out village. There's about 4 buildings. There's the small hovel you're in. There's a larger burnt down collapsed barn like structure, a larger what appears to have been probably the central building, maybe an inn of some sort, and then another hovel that makes up this small patch of land. You can kind of see in the waters around there's little driftwood or pieces of wood jutting out that show that this other aspects of this village have probably sunk into the waters. And again, everything is kind of caked with mud.
Caked.
What are you guys doing?
Is there any
make distance.
signs?
Signs?
Yeah, like things hanging from some of the broken down buildings, or maybe just like a street sign of some sort. Anything that I could clean off.
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
Has it been 10 minutes since I cast Detect Good and Evil, or Evil and Good?
Actually, I'd say you're on the tail end of it. It's still up.
Do I sense any?
What are the creatures again?
I don't know, man.
I gotta just
Abjuration, Fae,
Fiend,
undead.
undead. Yeah, I think we went through
Celestial.
all.
Elemental. Celestial.
Ping, 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 ping. You get 6 elemental pings.
18 on the investigation.
They are mercurial and almost liquid-like, what you can kind of sense. They are throughout the village. There's actually one right above you where you're hiding in this hovel. And then there's 2 in the other. There's 3 across the way in the burnt out barn. And then there's 2 in the middle between those where Wiswick is heading, where there is a really roughed up stonework that has a piece of wood jutting out that looks like an old sign. Wiswick, what'd you get in your investigation check?
18.
Yeah. There's a mud-covered stone patch with a sign on it. Kieran, you look up and you see what appears to be like a mound of mud stuck into the corner of this this little building, this little burnt-out corner. There's just sort of this, like, it just looks like someone had like spit a big mound of mud into the corner. It's not dripping. It's just sort of up against the wall.
Does he look at it? Does he look at the camera and go, "Clever girl"?
Nudging whoever's around me, I would point up at it and go, "There's elementals. There's elementals all throughout this village, like that one."
Wiswick, what are you doing when you go up to the sign? It's covered.
Did I hear Kieran, or did I get ahead? Okay. I'm going to, when I'm a little bit further, like close enough, I'm going to try and, as quietly as possible, cast Prestidigitation and clear off the sign with magic.
Okay. As
And
you
then
do
try
that,
and read it.
so as you do that, the mud is like sort of flapping as as your slight breeze of Prestidigitation is pushing it. It's not quite enough to push it off, but you, as the mud kind of like flaps in the wind a little, you sort of see it slowly like as it forms into a little, like, it almost looks like a gross fairy. Like it's got little wings sticking off its back. It has a little thin, gnarly body. Its face has slight ears, and it's sort of like it has a nose that comes out long. And a tiny jaw and little yellow eyes as it's sort of like slopping as it moves, as it is a mud method. Small,
That's what they're called.
small little elemental as it's sort of like immediately like as it's about to attack you. I need everyone to roll initiative.
Yay.
Kieran.
Kieran.
Vigilant Blessing on himself.
I'll only allow you to do that because you sensed them before the combat happened. But you got to do it
Right.
before we roll initiative. All right, let me. All right, 20 to 25.
No, sir.
Oh, jeez. All right, 15 to 20.
19.
Me, 19.
17.
Fight. Sorry.
16.
Cal and Scarlet both got 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go first?
Ladies' choice.
You can go.
Thanks.
Okay.
I stab it.
And then who got the 17?
Right here.
Wiswick. All right, 10 to 15.
Kieran got a 16, sorry.
Okay. And then Timber, what'd you get?
I got a 9.
9. All right. All right, so let me get this battle map set up.
Let's
Who
hope your
wanted to-
camera works.
Yeah, I got to check the camera. It should work. It should be fine. I think it just fell. I'll get this battle map set up. We'll take a 5-minute break. I know it's a little late in the evening, but we'll take a quick 5-minute break. If you want to, I know it's not set up, but if you wanted to show whoever's still with us the Scarlet art, you can pull that
I
up.
still haven't pulled that up because I need to get it on the Google Drive to get a good resolution.
Do you want me to upload it?
All right, well,
We'll do
it's
it.
probably
We'll
not going
do
to be
it.
shown tonight.
We should do it at the first thing next episode.
Yeah, we'll do it at the
Yeah,
beginning of the next
we'll
episode.
do
But
that.
I'm going to set up this battle map. Let's take a quick
Do it.
5-minute break.
Do it. We're
Mostly
gonna
Move
have
fast.
The
definitely
double
don't-
cliffhanger.
the job.
Anybody still watching?
Go for it,
All
Sean.
right, get back.
Tim, do you want to do the intermission with Tim and Alex?
Yeah, cut to intermission with Tim and Al.
It's the intermission with Tim and Alex.
It's the intermission.
That's from
So-
Monty Python's Spamalot.
So,
it is from
so Tim,
Monty Python's Spamalot.
how are you doing today?
Oh, you know, Alex, I'm doing pretty well. It is a Monday. That is when we play.
Mhm.
I'm, I'm fine. Work's been work. How are things with you, Alex?
Pretty good. I took off today. Kind of went on a bike ride, and
Nice.
now I'm here.
I did notice that your car was still here when I was leaving.
Yes.
Like, wow, interesting.
Yes, it was. It was. I still haven't gotten my plates for my car yet, so I can't drive. So I have to bike my bike to work. So that's
Oh,
exciting.
nice.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
it's pretty not good.
it's pretty good.
So I do want to shout out a couple people in our chat who aren't here anymore, but maybe we'll watch the YouTube video.
Probably not, but whatever.
Fucking, Oh, they were saying that I had a really good voice, and that makes me feel good because
Yeah, they wanted a whole show about it, Tim. What are you?
Yeah, I did see that. That might be a bit much. Though, if they check out on Sundays around 7-ish, I think
is it
is
Tim
the current plan.
Tim and Shannon Power Hour? Is that?
There
Is
is
Yeah,
that
gonna
we
be
could
the-
totally sing.
the Tim and Shannon Power Hour, and a part of our variety segment can be that. Not every episode, surely, but
Hey, we totally could sing.
yeah, it'd be
That'd
great.
be fun.
You can sing, you can dance.
I wonder where
and
these
you
disembodied
won't
voices are.
soil
I don't know
your
either.
pants.
Yeah. they're-
Ba-ba-da.
Find
But
your
yes.
grail,
So
find
Tim,
your-
what are your thoughts on potatoes
As a concept or as a food item?
as a concept?
Okay, pro potato as
Okay.
a concept. It is the reason the Irish came to America, and those are some of my ancestors. So I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the lack of potato as a food item, but potato as a concept. How about you?
Okay. I am pro potato.
Mhm.
I don't like the concept of them because
Okay, why not?
well,
Is it just tubers as like a thing, or is it?
it's just like it's a as a food item to eat, it's great. But making a potato is a process because you have to like bake it, boil it, and it takes a long time. Yeah. As a carb paste, usually you want, I don't know, either pasta or rice, some sort of vehicle for flavor.
So you and I have very different ideas as to what carbs do.
Right.
I've always felt that carbs can hold up a meal pretty much on their own, whereas you only use them as a base for other items.
Yes,
and I see where you're coming from. I just think that you're wrong, and frankly, one of these days that's going to be the thing that'll get you killed.
You know what? You're probably right, because I probably should have taken.
Durans have a sense about.
Oh, do they?
I'm not gonna lie, but Alex's idea definitely had a more balanced diet in mind.
Clayton,
I don't know.
Shut the fuck up. You're not in This is the Tim and Alex time, and you're here just dicking around.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thoughts on carbs and the potato as a concept.
Okay. What's one fact that you learned today that it was quite interesting?
Exhaustion points in D&D. I play a very loose style of D&D when I'm not playing with Sean. And so usually it's like, I don't get a long rest, and it's like, all right, then you don't get your shit, fuck off. Like, that's like the entirety of it. Oh, you don't get a long rest, no spells for you, come back tomorrow. We don't really do that. I mean, I see the point of it, but I also feel that, like, me personally could sleep for less than 6 hours a day and be like, that's like a good amount of sleep for me. Just about 6 hours. So it makes me a little sad that Cal can't.
I don't understand how you can function like that, because I know that you don't.
You go to sleep at like 10 sometimes.
I do.
Earlier.
I normally go to bed at 10. This is my bedtime, actually. And Sean and Shannon can contest that I have fallen asleep on D&D multiple times.
Yeah, I'm up till
not
about
only D&D.
12:30 or 1 most nights, and I'm up around 6:30.
Oh my god.
And that's just me. It's how I work.
Yeah.
I think that taking too much sleep in your life is a recipe for boredom because you don't do anything while you sleep.
So, as the Spice Girls say, spice up your life.
Yeah.
And with that, we will end the Tim and Alex.
Yeah, let's go back in. I just realized I was muted. All right. So, sorry.
I'm scared.
I'm scared. I'm like really scared.
All right. So, the methods are up first.
I should have set it to combat time. Huzzah!
All right.
So
yes. Say that again.
No, I'm just trying to see the map. Oh, I think I understand it.
Yeah, let me point it out to you all. So the on the left side is you guys in the burnt out hovel. So you got Timber, you got Scarlet, you have Curon, you have Cal, you have a Mephit, you have 2 Mephits and Wiswick. Then you have 3 Mephits over here. And that is the battle mat right now. The Mephits are up first. They'll turn on another light. Oop. See that. Oh, jeez. Knocking shit over.
Nice.
All right. So the Mephits are up first. The 2 that are by Wiswick are going to both attack him. Sorry. All right. What was your AC again, Wiswick?
I have to double check with my mage armor.
Oh yeah, because your mage armor is up.
13 plus whatever your dex is.
Okay, so that's a 16.
Okay. All right. So the first one is going to attack you with its little muddy fists.
Is that the name of the item?
No, it's just called his. The Mephit's basic attack is called Fist. So I wanted to make it a little less. Anyway, the first one is a 6 to hit, so it does not hit. The second one is going to immediately kind of puff itself up. It sort of looks almost like it's starting to become a big muddy bubble. And then it just sort of pops forward and it spews out this muddy, viscid mud onto you. So you need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Is it magical?
No.
Okay. I got a 13.
13? All right. So you just barely move out of the way as most of it kind of flaps past you. You get a little bit of mud on your cloak, but not enough to affect you. But easily enough, you are unaffected. Next, the Mephit near Kiran is going to similarly puke up a bunch of this visceral mud onto you. So give me a dexterity saving throw, Kiran. By the way, Cal, you're up after them.
16.
All right, so you similarly are able to kind of get out of the way as this mud pours around you, and the creature kind of coughs. And then it's pretty gross. The 3 in the other building are going to start swarming towards Wiswick. They have only 20 feet of movement.
Oh my god, you're making this too easy for me.
Yes. Make it easy.
No, you shouldn't be saying yes, trust me.
All right, Cal, you're up.
I'm gonna stab the one near me. And I'm gonna stab him, and I'm gonna swirl my sword inside of him. I figure I'll stir up.
All right, give me an attack roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It's a 19.
That definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
7 plus 4. It's 11.
Nice. 11 points of damage?
Yes.
All right. So you watch Kiran, you kind of are just like belched on by this one as it sort of like deflates a little bit. And you're watching it kind of with disgust as Cal's sword goes piercing right through it and sticks through its back. And he swirls it around and you see the creature kind of shake around in the air like as the sword flings out of its side and a little bit of mud slaps onto your face. Ugh. The creature is kind of like, but it's still alive. It's very hurt though. Anything else, Cal?
Actions.
I am not going to action.
Yeah, I know. I'm just,
okay. No, that's it.
Okay. All right, Scarlet, you're up. Then Wiswick, you're on deck.
Okay. So where I'm standing right now, am I like by a window? Can I see all of the ones swarming Wiswick?
Yeah. So you're looking out. You're kind of like behind a burnt out portion of the wall, but you can see straight out, and you see there are 5 of them coming down on Wiswick.
Okay. Is that burnt out enough that I can jump through it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna go right up onto the one that is. Actually, I'm gonna flank the one with Wiswick.
You can do that easily enough.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to stab it.
Wait, did that one have a turn yet?
Yes, it did. They all had a turn.
No.
No assassination.
Damn it.
But you do get to roll to attack, and you will get sneak attack if you hit.
Yeah. Ugh. That would have crit if it was assassination. Okay. So 26. No, 25.
25, that definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage with sneak attack.
2 plus 4, that's 6. And sneak attack. Nice. 17 points of damage.
Oh, shit. Okay. 17 points of damage. All right, that thing is... So you come up and you immediately... This thing, it's also similarly just after belching towards Wiswick, so it's kind of deflated and it's kind of flapping its wings. It's slowly kind of... every time it flaps its little muddy wings, they're not like fairy wings. They're gross. It just like slings mud onto the ground. These are really foul-looking creatures, and they smell horribly.
Cool.
They smell like a. They smell like when you drive through
New Jersey.
I was gonna say New Jersey, but I was like, I was literally gonna say like right when you get into New Jersey, but after the GW bridge.
Yeah,
but
those fields of like stacks and shit. Yeah,
they just smell like rotting everything.
New Jersey.
Great.
But you kind of come up to it and you slice through it, and your blade goes right through it, and it just sort of like splatters across, but it like takes a while for it to close back up, and it's sort of like. Interestingly enough, technically, you don't know this, but you technically talk to these things because you know primordial.
I was gonna ask if there was anything, any like elemental shit that I could do. But yeah, I do know that. That's good to know.
You can technically understand them. So
Okay.
you heard him say, "Ah, shit! Ah, shit! They got me."
Awesome.
And whatever shit is to mud methods. You
Cool.
still have your bonus action.
Yep.
And a little bit of movement.
Offhand, gonna tag again.
All right, go for it.
I'd really like to see that the sign that Wiswick was trying to look at.
25
says,
again.
Welcome to Jersey.
If I only didn't respect
Old
my
Jersey.
world, I would do that in a heartbeat.
That's the title of the episode.
Another 6 points of damage. Oh no, no modifier. No, sorry, no modifier. 2 points of damage.
2 points of damage.
Yep.
Okay, so that is. All right. Okay, so it's it's not quite dead, but it is. It's like you can see it. It's like flapping in the air, and every time it flutters up, like pieces of it are falling off to the ground and becoming regular mud. But it's still alive. All right. Wiswick, you're up, and then Kieran, you're on deck.
Oh, yeah.
Give us that area of effect, buddy.
Oh, but you don't want me to do it. I'm telling you, you don't want me to do it. I don't have sleep. I only have one other one, and the other one's not good.
What are you doing, Wizzy?
It's so tempting. It really
Divider,
is.
What?
We didn't kill this thing that was next to me, right?
No, the ones around you are all still alive.
Do it. Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and back up and provoke attacks of opportunity from both of the guys that are next to me. But my goal is to attempt to get back with everybody else.
Okay, so do you want to move? Do you want to move? How many spaces do you want to move? And
I want to move my full 25 movement feet, or whatever it takes me closest to try and get behind. I guess whoever has the yellow marker. It could be Kieran. I'm not sure.
The yellow marker is Cal.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to get behind Cal if I can.
You can get right there, so almost behind Cal, behind sort of this burnt out chunk of wood.
Okay, that's my goal.
That's good. All right, so you're going to get 2 attacks of opportunity. These things are not particularly smart or strategists. They're just swarming. So they're both going to attempt to attack you with their fists.
Them and me both.
What's your AC again? 15?
16.
16. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Oh wow, my dice rolls are just terrible for monsters. Neither of those hit. They both just but none of them hit. And you easily enough get away from them. So you still have your bonus action and action.
I cast Shatter, but I cast the Lore Wiswick style Shatter, in which I create a 20-foot plane of ice that floats in the air. And as the spell fizzles, it shatters, and all the ice falls down in a hail-like storm, piercing the ground and everything in the area. It will make a large, loud, shattering noise from all of the ice crashing into the ground. And everybody's going to hear it for a very long distance.
Oh,
but it does deal a lot of damage if these things can.
So this will be cold damage. Is what it will be changed to?
Yes.
Okay. So where are you plopping that 10-foot sphere?
It is a 20-foot radius, so that is a 40-foot sphere, and it is going to hit every single method and not what's called Scarlet.
You can hit 4 of them, not the other one, right?
I can hit 5, 10, 15, 20.
So shatter.
So I can't hit only 4 of them.
Well, the shatter. Wait, shatter is 40-foot sphere. I thought it was. It says each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on the point.
10-foot radius. A radius is half a circle.
Foot.
Yeah, 20
Oh, I see. So it's 20 foot.
Yeah, so my central location is going to be the square in the center of the square in between those two.
I see exactly where you're doing it. Yep.
Yeah, so it'll hit all 5.
It'll just miss Scarlet. Okay. And what's the saving throw? Constitution or dexterity?
Correct.
Scarlet just standing there
you
and
can make
sheets
it.
of ice fall down right in front of her. She's like,
I can make it what I want.
I'd say
but
Constitution. Constitution's probably the best one.
honestly, Constitution would make it lightning damage, though, and I kind of wanted to do ice, and ice sounds more dexterity.
Do it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, so I would say...
If it's worth anything, it's the same modifier for both.
Okay, well then it means a lot that I chose dexterity because that's the right thing to choose, and it's also the thing that's most thematically good.
All right, so how many of them that's going to hit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, it's going to hit 4 of them. All right, so first 2, the 2 closest to you.
DC 14.
Okay, so the one directly next to Scarlet, got a 10, so failed. And then the one that was in front of it got a 17. That one succeeded. And then the other 2, the one directly next, the one furthest from the from Scarlet got a 17, and the other one got a 9. So 2 failed, 2 succeeded.
All right, here we go. Well, what about the 5th one?
He's only doing 4. Jesus Christ.
The fifth one is just out of range.
Is it, though?
If you're doing a 10-foot radius from between those 2, then it's just out of range.
All right, we need to discuss the directions of things in the future, but for now, I'll take the 4. If you put it, no, in between, one to the right. Right in the middle.
No, you can't. You can't. Yeah, that one's out.
How is it out?
It's 10.
10.
Okay, no, you're right.
And 5,
Okay.
10. So one of them, you have to choose one to not be in.
Obviously.
All right,
choose the
yeah.
4,
So
but-
yeah, I'm choosing the ones that are closer to Scarlet.
Okay. Then 2 succeeded, 2 failed.
Okay, great. The total is 8 and 5, 13 damage of cold to all of them.
Nice.
The ones that are succeeded get half.
Okay, great. So then that what was it again? It was 14. You said.
I said 13. I think
13,
it's a
okay.
5 and an 8. Yeah.
13. Okay, so then that brings that down to that. All right. So the one directly in front of Scarlet. So Scarlet, you just sliced through this thing, and it's like, shit! And then immediately a large, jagged chunk of ice just splatters it across the ground, and just the ice sinks like 6 inches into the mud below as the creature is just gone. Like it's just mud now.
Nice.
The one directly to the left of that one ahead of you, you see like little pieces of the shattered ice fall through it and kind of like just like slipping through its like muddy form, and it's like struggling to stay up, but it does stay up. The one immediately behind that one takes a huge hit from a large chunk of ice, but it slowly like slithers around it. It takes the full brunt of the damage, but it's not dead from that. And then the other one, it's similarly has little pieces flying through it, but it's not quite dead.
The one in front of Shannon is not dead, you said?
No, that one is.
The one in front is dead, but the other 3 are still alive.
Check a root.
9. This is still 11. All right, so then that brings us to Curon, and then Timber, you're on deck.
Kieran's gonna take his quarterstaff and be like, ah! And flip it up two-handed to try to smack this thing into the ceiling.
Go for it. Roll to attack.
9.
That does not hit, unfortunately.
Are you sure about that?
That would have been cool.
I'm pretty positive.
That's fair. That's fair. I just
So-
double check.
Yeah, so Kieran, you're just kind of like, and this thing is just, it's just dodging right out of the way. It's almost like muddily like moving around it, like just sort of like completely avoiding your attack.
Quite hit it.
Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No.
Okay.
Oh, can I specify that a creature made of inorganic materials such as stone, crystal, or metal has disadvantage on the saving throws of Shatter?
Yeah. All right, I'll re-roll the 2 that succeeded, because that's true. They are made of inorganic material. All right, so one got a natural 20, and the other one actually ended up failing. So I'll take full damage from the one that's furthest from Scarlet down, because because that's the one that took half. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Good to know. All right.
If it's a mud.
Kieran, what are you up? Anything else you want to do? You got your bonus action movement. All right, Timber, you're up. And the methods are up again.
Punch some shit.
I'll punch some mud elementals.
I'm gonna wait. There's no
one in front of you. You got to move to get to one.
All right, that's no problem. I will do that.
Fast boy.
All right. So you're 15 feet away from the one that Cal's attacking. It's up in like the corner of the room, so you can't get like behind it. You'd have to.
What about the one
that's
that's kind of closest to Scarlet on the right side of her?
Yeah, you could definitely get to that one.
Okay, I want to get to that one.
Okay. And you're gonna go for a pop.
Good old pop.
Pop.
All right, let's see what we got.
That's what I used to call my grandpa.
All right, first one's a good old 16.
Oh, that hits.
All right. And the next one is a 19. Well, that's a natural 19. So that one's gonna hit too.
Oh, they both hit. Punch
All
this
right,
thing.
I will punch it.
Punch it good.
To oblivion with a 4 and a 2. That is that's some damage. 12 damage.
12 damage. All right. All right.
I should have Fury blazed it.
Actually, no, this one didn't take the full damage. Okay. So you immediately rush forward in your hybrid form, and you go for those 2 swipes with your claws and your fists. It's like the thing is barely alive. It's so gross. Like when you slice it at once, you almost like smack its entire lower half away as you see mud splatter off into the distance. And then you smack the top half as the lower half is regrowing and reconstituting. And it's just like its middle goes flying away, and then it slowly like reconstitutes, but it's slowly falling apart. It's like as it is definitely almost dead.
Wow.
It's looking bloodied or muddied.
Uh,
Timbers, anything else you want to do?
Growl at it.
Yeah, your bonus action still.
Crow at it.
No, I don't.
Oh no, you used your attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the methods are up. All right. So let me roll to see if those 2 get their breath back.
We gotta kill him while we're up in this hut.
One doesn't. Second one does. So. Oh yeah. All right. So Timber, the method in front of you that you just demolished almost is going to immediately try to puke up its own guts onto you. You need to make a dexterity saving throw.
I'm proficient in that. That's a 17 for a save.
Yeah, you pretty much just smack its vomit away from as it's coming out to you, as it's trying to throw up on you. And it does not succeed. Oh.
Oh.
Scarlet, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, it's in a line?
No. This was something that from the last from the method that died next to her.
It exploded.
Does it explode?
22.
Yeah, I mean,
Shit!
You're not affected, but it explodes, and the same bile it was puking up goes everywhere. But you just you very much so avoid it.
Yeah.
All right, so the method above Cal and Curon is definitely going to go for an attack on Cal because he's annoyed by the swirly did with his sword into him. So Cal, what's your AC? What's your AC, Cal?
Oh, my AC is an 18.
Well, that's an 18, so that hits.
Oh.
Sucks to be you.
So that's going to be 7 points of bludgeoning damage as this little method, after getting its guts swirled around, flaps its wings and kind of comes up and it sort of swirls and comes around and just like bitch slaps you across the face as you just have a bunch of mud splattered across your face as it just sort of like hovers above you, kind of like it looks like this actually. It's just holding its fists out, ready to go. Barely holding itself together, though, as it's like, I got you. Oh, well, I guess you're...
Move like water or like mud.
Is that what it says? Did I hear that?
Yeah, you can barely hear it just being like, bring it on. Cal, all you hear is...
Damage.
All right. Those 3 methods are all going to descend upon Timber. I'm plugging my headphones. Yeah, fix this.
I guess it hits me, but I don't take damage, John?
That's because I zipped it up.
What?
All right. So these other methods are all going to descend upon Huron.
No damage for Cal.
Timber.
We're one and the same.
Yeah. John's basically a dog.
That's a lot.
Woof, motherfucker.
Whoop. Wow, you nailed the timber.
I think so.
I think you did.
I think you mean wolf, motherfucker.
All right, so they're all just going to go for a bitch slap attack, a muddy bitch slap.
16.
What's your AC?
16.
16? All right, first one misses with a 7. Second one is a 16, so it just hits.
Ow.
That's going to be 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ow.
As you similarly get that bitch slap to the face. The second 2 is a dirty 20 and a 22 to hit. So those both hit. So that is another 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
12.
Then another 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ow.
As they, yeah.
You never told me how much damage I took.
7.
Teacher, you
No, I
didn't
told
give
you
us
7.
the homework.
I told you got 7 points of of mud damage.
Maybe you should listen to the DM, Tim.
I don't think you did. I don't think you did. I'm gonna in the edit. We're gonna prove that.
In the edit, there's just gonna be that like sound over with Tim's voice that says no damage.
Clearly on a different microphone.
All right, so these things are swarming Timber now, and they don't deal a lot alone, but they deal a lot together. And you also see coming out from the northern part.
Oh no.
I told you didn't want me to do that shatter move.
What do you mean? You did great.
Everything heard it. It's gonna be
There's
the biggest
more.
one.
Yeah,
What
where's
is
that
it?
worm?
Oh shit, the worm.
Oh shit.
There's just more mud. There's
And
just
that
more
blink
mud.
dog.
Oh no.
Oh no! Put that away! Put that away! Put that away!
No.
Pop
But
quizzes
that's the
tomorrow.
best model I have for it. 2 more methods appear. Huron. One of these methods you notice, because you got that high perception. Every time it sort of like flaps its wings and it, their forms kind of shift with the muddiness of them. And every now and then you see inside a little glimmer.
Like a wisp glimmer?
No, like a gem.
Oh!
Kill it for loot. Kill it for loot.
This is a literal poke it for loot situation. All right, Cal, you're up. Then Scarlet, you're on deck.
Okay, I'm gonna just finish this guy off. I'm gonna stab this guy.
Go for it. Go for the attack.
Yeah, that'll probably play, right? Like a 19, like an 18, like a 19.
Oh yeah. Like that hits.
I really like to imagine Cal just be like, I'm gonna stab it, and just not look away from the camera and just.
12 of the damages.
That is just enough damage.
Excellent.
As this thing is duking it out, like bring it on. As it just splatters against the wall.
Yeah, it's like bang. All right, I'm going to.
It's not even really a finessed move. You're really kind of just punching it. You got your bonus action and movement.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna go through Kira, the old through him trick, and gonna go head off those other two methods before they get to my friends.
20.
Yeah, right.
10 more feet if you want to reposition at all.
Can you put me in flanking? No. Okay.
Put yourself in between them so you get attack of opportunity on both of them.
I could, but they also could just. Yeah, all right. I'll do that.
I mean, they can reach you anyway. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
You want to do anything with your bonus action?
Well, I'm gonna action surge, motherfucker.
Yeah, you are.
Cool. So I'm going to. You know what? Well, I can't disarm them. They don't have weapons. So I'm actually not going to use a spirit dice, and I'm just gonna hit him. Just gonna hit the guy on my left.
Okay, go ahead and roll attack.
Yeah, no, I hit him. That's a 17.
Roll damage.
Okay, that's a 10.
10. All right.
Points to Gryffindor.
10 points to Gryffindor as the sword slides through it and it reconstitutes, but it is definitely damaged. Anything else, Cal?
That's it.
Oh, right. Scarlet, you're up.
All right. I would like to move around that one that is directly to my right to get in flanking position.
You can do that.
With Timber. Then I'm going to stab it.
Stab away.
Stab.
Stab a do.
Awesome. All right. 24 to hit.
Definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage with sneak attack.
Fuck yeah. I love this class. Okay, that's 7 plus 7, 14 points of damage.
Okay, so Scarlet, you go to stab this thing, and the second your blade touches it, it just explodes all over your dagger.
Great.
It's essentially you just, same as Cal, you just splat this thing across the battlefield.
Nice.
And it's just donezo.
Nice. All right. I still have a little bit of movement, right?
Yep, you got 20 feet of movement and
Sweet.
a bonus action.
Okay, I am going to move up to the one that's closest to me now, right in front. Can I get to flanking with it? One more?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Actually.
2 more? Yeah, right there. Sweet.
You don't get sneak attack, but you do get the advantage.
Yeah. Thank God, because that was a 1. All right. Math. 21.
Oh, to hit, yeah. That hits. It's like 21 damage.
Yeah, 2 points piercing damage.
Okay. Still alive. It's actually quite surprised when it got hit. You go to stab it, and it sort of like slices through its back a little bit, and it's just like everywhere. All right. Wiswick, you're up. And then Kieran, you're on deck.
I would like to move up slightly to well, who's next to me there?
Kieran.
I'm gonna move up to the just 10 feet forward from where I'm at now. Okay, that's maybe one more diagonally upwards towards the one at the north. Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. And then I'm gonna cast Poison Spray, Conflagration Spray for the fire damage dex save on the one that is directly right to me.
Okay. All right. Dex save, you said?
Yes.
What's the save again?
14.
That's that's a 6. So go ahead and roll damage.
Boom, boom.
All right. Woo! 12 damage maximum.
Oof, okay. So you immediately do your thing. The gas comes out, it ignites, and you just see this thing getting covered in the flames, and it's so hot that you hear it start to harden and crumble as the flames dissipate, and it just sort of it just like falls to ash and chunks of clay, essentially.
It's a mephit-shaped pot on the ground.
You baked it like a pot.
Yeah, it's just little pieces of the mephit have been baked into clay onto the ground, but it is dead.
Boom.
All right. Anything else, Wiz?
I laugh maniacally, and that's about it.
Okay. Kieran, you're up.
I'm gonna step out of the building and cast Sacred Flame on the mephit that Cal attacked. It needs to make a dex saving throw 13.
13. All right. Oops, it's cocked. All right, that's a 7, so go ahead and roll damage.
1 radiant damage.
All right. So, Cal, you see some like really bright white, somewhat bluish violet sparking all around the mephit as it's like as it's slowly little singe marks on it as it's hitting it.
You look over at Kieran and he's like giving a thumbs up, like, yeah, I'm helping.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Kieran?
No, that's all. Thank you.
All right, Timber, you're up.
I'm gonna punch it.
All right. The one punch away.
Got the fighter that's
successfully punched.
The monk that punches.
It's an 18. It's an 18.
Oh yeah, that's a successful punch.
Okay. That is a total of 6.
You punching the one in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it?
All right. It is still alive.
God.
It's definitely struggling to constitute itself. But what would you like to do?
Bonus action, key point, disengage.
Okay.
Getting behind.
We have the same
Kieran.
AC, but I have
Kieran.
less health than.
Where are you going?
Kieran, behind Kieran.
Okay.
Well, I have 5 HP, so I'm not.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh boy.
Okay.
said something.
I knew he had 5 HP.
Thanks, Tim.
Well, maybe not 5. I knew he was under 10.
The D&D Beyond overlay is betrayed.
No, because I didn't update it. Because I can't update it because I can't turn on or get to my web browser because I will overlay everything.
Yeah.
I've been doing math in my head.
All right. So Timber has disengaged away, noticing that he is injured and he was not able to kill that mephit. He disengages away, leading us into the mephit's turn. So the mephits, seeing their enemies moving away from them, let's see if they get their breath back. 2 that did it, no. All right. So those 2 that were attacking Timber. Jeez. Are immediately going to swarm to Scarlet. Scarlet, what's your AC?
15.
Okay. All right. First one's cocked, still a miss. They both miss.
Nice.
As they sort of swarm around you, spinning around you, and go for the slap, but you're as they do not hit you. The other 2 are going to go for Cal.
Can I say miss me in Primordial?
Yes, you may. And they're immediately like, oops, that's cocked. Cal, one of those is a 17, one is 12.
Get out of here. I'm going to riposte.
All right.
Yeah. Love that move.
You're going to riposte the one to your left or right?
The left.
Okay.
It's 21.
That hits.
With a lovely 12 damage.
12 damage.
Wow.
All right.
That's max for anyone counting. It's max damage.
But that is just enough as that thing is splatted into the wind. The other one who had attacked you is terrified.
Did a gem fall out of the one I just killed?
No, the gem is in the one to your right. And it is going to try to escape because it still has its movement. These things are not very fast, though.
Wait, is that the one with the gem in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's going to move its full 20.
Eldritch Blast.
Pew pew.
Eldritch Blaze.
Blast.
Does Cal get an attack opportunity?
No, because he just used his reaction to riposte.
Oh, bummer.
Right?
Yeah, it's a reaction.
Can I reaction surge?
Not quite. But it is Cal's turn.
I'm gonna run after it, tackle it. No, I'm just gonna stab it.
Okay. It's only 20 feet away from you, so it's easy to catch up to. So go ahead and go for the attack.
Yep. Cha. It's 15.
That hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay, good. I got worried. It's an 11 of the damages.
Oh, jeez. Nice.
Yeah.
It is still alive, though. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Oh, right. Scarlet, you're up.
Okay. So there's one right in front of me, right?
Correct.
Cool. All right, just gonna swipe at it, but I don't get any sneak attack, right? Because it's not engaged with anybody, and I don't have advantage.
Correct.
Swipe or no swiping?
Fine. 16.
That hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. 7 points piercing damage.
That is just enough. So that thing, similarly, is splattered down to the ground. Frustrated, you look forward, seeing Cal chasing after another one. You just bring your blade down and just slices right through it as the two halves just melt down into the mud below.
Nice.
You have your bonus action and movement still.
Can I throw things as a bonus?
Yes, you can.
For offhand, I mean.
If it's a thrown weapon, you can offhand.
Sweet.
Throw it.
Okay, I want to move. I think my full movement, and I want to get it within throwing distance of that last one.
Oh yeah, you definitely can.
Cool. I'm gonna chuck my dagger at it.
Go for it. Roll a ranged attack.
Where's my 20 pages?
Chuck it!
Right over Cal's shoulder.
Oh.
No.
8.
Earn to the back of his head.
Unfortunately, the
Roll
dagger
a
goes
2.
right past Cal's shoulder and just misses the mephit. The mephit
Does
kind
it
of
disappear? The dagger?
Dagger is. Let me look at my map real quick.
Oh no.
So
It's not my special one.
It's not. No, I know. It does go. It does. I mean, it goes further beyond, and it's definitely you have to go find it.
Yeah.
Potentially might be in the water.
Great.
But you will have to find it after.
Don't drink the water.
Don't touch the water.
That's all you can
eat the
do.
water.
Yep.
So, Wizwick, you're up.
Okay.
Fire in this guy.
Yeah.
That's where I'm gonna go when I die.
Can I even catch this dude?
I mean, you can get within range to cast a spell if you've got a ranged spell.
Well, my range spell is 10 feet. You think I could cast?
Oh, you got 25 feet of movement, right?
Yes.
You don't have like the firebolt cantrip? Like
No, that's for. Why would I pick something that's useful?
You can only get within 15 feet of it.
Okay, so there's no go on the poison spray. I could use a bigger spell, but that's not really what I want to do on Mr. Runaway.
Magic missile!
Really? Magic missile?
Yes! It automatically hits
What else
it.
are you gonna do if you can't? If you don't have anything else to use, just use fucking magic missile.
I can pass my turn and save my slot.
No! Nobody cares about that. Just
I care about that.
You're nobody.
As a spell user.
I love my slots.
Kieran, you are on deck.
I am
just
well
use
aware.
magic missile.
Thank you.
All right. I am going to
It's
use
full of a
all my
gem.
movement.
Wiswick has incentive to kill it.
Exactly. So he's going to use all his movement to run directly up to it and stand right next to it with his little dagger, and he's ready.
That's even better.
I'm getting the flanking. Flank him.
Yeah, you can get the flank. So, Cal, you see Wiswick dash super fast right up behind this thing and pull out the smallest dagger you've ever seen. And his eyes are big as he sees the glint of the gem inside the thing's stomach.
I'm gonna cut you, boy.
I'm gonna slice you right open and take all your gems. Kieran, you're up.
Looking at an injured Timber, but also knowing that we have to destroy this Mephit, Kieran goes, "I'll be right back, Timber," and runs 30 feet, due whatever direction that is, up. And then
Map north.
Map north, thank you. Cast Sacred Flame at the mud monkey.
Easy enough. Dexterity, right?
Yeah, 13.
The mud monkey. All right, so that is a dexterity, right? That's a 17.
I hate it. I hate it.
Cantrips.
And that's that.
All right.
That's that.
So similarly, sparks of sacred fire flash around the Mephit, but it's able to whirl away from them. Timber, you're up. Timber, you're up.
Timber.
Timber's after Kieran.
Gonna
You're
sit
up.
there and try to,
Lick your wounds.
lick my wounds. Yeah.
Yeah, you're covered in bruises.
I'm covered in bruises and just mud
Muddy.
all over them. I'm like,
Bruises and Mephit guck.
yeah, it's gross. I'm gonna use my full action to clean, plus my bonus action.
Fair enough.
And you're telling
gonna.
me to blow spells.
Yeah, I don't have anything useful.
We'll say, Timber, as you're probably won't get to this tonight, but as you are cleaning yourself, as your friends are 20 feet, 30 feet away fighting this last Mephit, you are kind of leaning against the wall, kind of.
Yeah.
But you look up, and as you're licking, you're just sort of, as you see about 50 feet away at the edge of the water.
No. Fuck.
But that's for another time. The Mephit is up. The Mephit is going to... Shit got loud. The Mephit is going to attempt to puke on Cal.
As one does.
Dexterity saving throw, Cal.
All right. Oh. No. It's a 4.
All right, Cal. You are considered restrained until the end of the creature's next turn. It's going to turn around, looking at Wiswick. Yep. It's going to attempt to flee. All right, so it's going to attempt to flee out and use its action and movement to dash away. So you can both get attacks of opportunity on it if you'd like.
Yeah.
Right?
Cal, yours is disadvantaged because you're restrained.
Yep.
So go ahead and roll to attack.
Flanking doesn't cancel that out.
Oh, flanking does cancel it out. So you have a normal attack. Wiswick, you have an advantage.
Well, that's good because that's a 21 for me.
Okay.
Or it was a 21 or a 3. I'm sorry, or a 6.
I got a 19.
All right, both hit. Roll damage.
Get some, motherfucker! It's 11.
How much damage does a dagger do?
1d4.
1d4.
Plus dexterity or strength.
So that is dexterity, and it is 4 damage.
Okay. How would you two like to do this together?
Nice.
So I'd like for Wiswick. I do like a excellently executed stab where I like poke the gem out of the thing,
Yeah.
and then Wiswick just fucking stabs right through it. So we make like a fun parallel cross.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking something along the lines of like, you stab through it, the gem comes out his chest. He reaches out to grab with his hand, and I stab through his hand to grab the gem.
We could do a combination of both. This is your kill. This is the last kill of this, the method aspect of this fight.
Oh, we're running that worm thing. Hell no, we're running it.
Yeah, we're running.
What do you mean? I got all these spells.
So you see Cal's sword goes and swipes up and through the creature. The creature is like, yeah. The gem flies out of its stomach. It goes to grab it like this, needing both hands to grab it. As Wiswick's having stabbed down and done the crisscross with Cal, then brings the dagger out to slice its little hands off as it completely bursts into just plain mud as the gem lands right in the mud in front of Wiswick.
Pick it up.
As Wiswick picks up the gem successfully and turns around to see all of you now looking back at the giant carrion crawler that has reached the perimeter of the camp as it's just, and that's where we're gonna end tonight.
Fantastic.
So you have successfully acquired one of the gems for the stone warding pillar in the front of the swamp. You have killed 8 mephits, and you are about to either run or fight a carrion crawler. All in a day's work for these adventurers. You've been in this swamp for an hour. I'd say a little more than an hour. But that's where we're going to end tonight. Thank you for those that stuck with us. I know we stayed a little later than usual, and thank you for those who came back after stepping away for a moment. Join us again next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we keep trudging through this swamp of druidic and elemental and fey horrors. And we hope you had fun in Paradise with us tonight, and we will see you soon.
Be on the lookout on social for an announcement about the Tim Enchanted Power Hour, most likely on Sunday.
Correct. We will likely have a brand new show airing on Sunday. And also keep an eye out because every now and then some of us jump on for a stream to play some video games or board games. And it's a great time to chat with the cast members. I know 2 Dungeon Masters had a nice chat with Alex the other day. But keep an eye out on social and on your emails and subscribe. Good night, everyone.
You subscribe.
Bye.
Today, just to see if I could feel